preparing for round one. Mercy. Insta-lock. Insta-lock Mercy. She's golden. Look at her eyes. You know she's going to win. Look at the cat ears. You know she's going to win.
Near immediately, because this is very dangerous, and I need this person to be out of everyone's hairs. Not the person I'm about to show you. This person is in danger. This is Sly Boy. Sly Boy made a very long expose about somebody named Katie Cruz. I'm going to show you a few things about Katie Cruz to give you a better idea about who Katie Cruz is. Katie Cruz is a map. Now, you don't know what a map is. A map is dangerous. It means minor attracted person. They're very active in the community of the LGBTQ, and they're giving a bad name to a lot of trans people. And that's not good for me because, well, basically, I'm very in tune with the trans community. I would prefer them not to be vilified any more than they already have.
Me too.
It's not good for them to get any bad press.
Me, I agree. I agree.
A cavalcade of bad press. Now, you're probably wondering, what website am I on? Well, this is the vendor website for the map site. I stand with children. I stand with children, which a Gaza thing. Bunch of stuff here. This is the asexual flag. And you may be confused why I'm showing this merch site. Well, that's because this merch site is on a map merch site, and Katie Cruz is a verified vendor. Katie Cruz is the exact person that this person is calling out in this 40-minute video, which I have linked in the top comment. Now, you know it's really serious because I'm not using any sponsorships in his videos because I'm very angry. So, now then, I'm going to show you a few other things to get things more across my point. I'm going to read this blog, bar for bar, word for word. My name is Katie Cruz. I am a girl on a journey navigating this sometimes frightful messed up world. I guess you could say I'm a cartographer. Oh, as a matter of fact, I'm a map. What's a map, you ask? Well, I'm a lot like everyone else. I enjoy music and road trips, good food, hanging with friends, a good TV series and movies. And like everyone else, I just want to be...
What was that?
So, this doesn't really explain what a map is right here. Despite the fact you posed the question, it sympathizes with you. This is the thing to garner empathy immediately. This is a trap to garner empathy from you. So what is it about me that makes me a map? Here we go. Well, I intend to find myself attracted to people much younger than me. Interesting. Now, this is the part where you need to raise some flags. And this is the part that I thought. Now, I always do a lot of research before making any video about any topic. I try my best to do as much research as humanly possible about any available sources that are out there. This is a public website with a bunch of blogs about a whole bunch of other stuff.
Hope it was worth the trade, you asshole.
Now, I hate this. I hate this so much. The reason I'll explain why I hate this later, but let's get back into this. So, why is this important? Well, I'm going to show you some fun stuff here. This is the whole thing. They're using Christianity as a way to garner a lot of sympathy from a lot of people. Why Christianity? Well, that's the biggest support group. So here goes his take on this. Here's him saying this.
You know what I'm saying? All right, let's move on. It means you are human and you messed up. Everyone sins. It's human nature. It's how we feel about it afterwards that makes us evil or not. It's how you feel about it afterwards that makes you evil or not.
So he's basically describing, I don't want to use too many clips, by the way. He's basically explaining, he's reading through more of the blogs, which there are a lot of them. There are so many blogs about how they are just attracted to minor people. It is a whole thing. It is a very long thing. You get the website because guess what? I linked it in the top comment. If you're curious, the map camp controversy. So this is the whole thing. So September 21, 2024. This is the whole thing. Where many months ago we were working on a project called Map Camp, an event where maps can come together and enjoy fellowship with other maps. This is a whole thing. This whole thing was about a bunch of maps joining together to get together. Now this is specifically about Katie Cruz because Katie Cruz is very open. A blog by Katie Cruz. Very important that I use the name Katie Cruz. So I'm going to read this whole thing. Due to disagreements over event security and ideology, the organizer of the event left. and took the project with them. I am honestly relieved when they did the way things are shaping up. I didn't want to be a part of MapCap, and I didn't want Metal to be a part of it if it had progressed where everything was going. I was going to publicly blow the whistle on the project at the expense of destroying any of the Metal's credibility within the map community. Unfortunately, even though the MapCamp is no longer a Metal project, our site will still be linked to the MapCamp page, and thus we were associated with the project by proxy. This past week, Antis got wind of the event and became a shitstorm all over the internet. Since then, the other directors and I have been working to clean up the organized mess and do damage control for Metals within and outside the map community. Maybe it's my ego, maybe it's because my B gets on my nerves. I thought when they left Metal, I would finally do this. My B is inspiring. He wisely dropped the Satanist advocacy, and there's a lot of degeneracy going on here. This is crazy. This is the kind of stuff that a lot of Republicans often say, "Oh, this is what every LGBTQ is person." This is like the worst example of somebody that is part of the LGBTQ. The genuinely worst example, and it is really bad. So, let's go on more about these things. Now, this is the intent to harm here. This is very important. Very, very important. The intent to harm someone that is of a younger age. So we got this going on here.
That later. At this point, I would like to establish as a fact Katie Cruz's intent to harm. These last few days, I've been daydreaming about having a 9-year-old girlfriend. She'd come over and hang out, playing video games and watching Netflix with me. I'd make us a good meal of comfort food. We'd laugh and joke and have a good time like romantic besties. While watching movies or shows, she'd lie across me and look up with those innocent please love me eyes.
Okay. All right. Okay. I just want to establish this real fast. Just want to establish this. This is on the website. I checked. This is on the website. So that's scary. And then it goes into details about the whole thing. I don't want to gross you out too much, but that is the entire thing there. And there's another one. There's more intent to harm here. If you read this, I linked the video. I promise you I linked the video. This is the whole thing. Whole thing here. Now, this is where I got I always looked it up to see if it was real. I just wanted to see if it was real. Because I never trust anything I see online anymore. I just wanted to see if this was real. And it is. Katie Cruz has a thing on the map site, specifically supporting maps and things of that variety. Now, if you don't know what this is an AI video. We're going to watch this. Observe. It's an AI child, by the way. I just want to point, it's an AI child. The AI child is a diabolical pull, very diabolical pull.
Bitch in the comments, please.
Hey there, it's Maddie, your map-loving friend, and Pride Month is just around the corner. Are you ready to show your colors and celebrate love, acceptance, and equality? Well, I've got the perfect place for you, Map Merch Shop, the ultimate online store for map and map-adjacent communities. At Map Merch Shop, we've got everything you need to shine bright during Pride Month and beyond. We've got awesome shirts, beautiful flags, colorful mugs, and so much more, all created by incredible artists like Mattis Hatter, Anemone, Acrylic Fairy, and Katie Cruz. But here's the best part. When you purchase select items, a portion of the proceeds goes straight to amazing map charities. It's shopping with a purpose, and it feels absolutely fantastic. From stylish flags to awesome mugs, keychains to stickers, we've got everything you need to show off your true colors. And by supporting our artists, you're helping spread love, acceptance, and equality. Get ready for Pride Month in style and make a positive impact at the same time. Visit our website at mapmerch.shop and let the shopping adventure begin. Remember, love is love, and everyone deserves to be celebrated. Let's make this Pride Month the most colorful and inclusive one yet.
New segment.
So, that is just a whole website supporting maps. Very disgusting and dangerous. And then there's the smoking gun part where he connects, or at least allegedly attempts to connect, someone named Callie Miller with Katie Cruz, showing the Shelby Lighthouse Project, which is showing their flags and their graphics and how a lot of them correlate with the flags and graphics used on Katie Cruz's website. And this was run by, I believe, Callie Miller. It's a whole thing there. But why am I bringing all this up? Why am I doing all this? What is the point of this? Well, I found this lawsuit here from Callie Miller that is against people for a statutory action. It's a fraud thing. It's a cause of action. It's a fraud defamation. It's the whole defamation thing. And they're doing this. This was filed 4 days ago. 4 days ago by Callie Miller. Interesting. Very interesting. Don't know what was going on there. Now, I do want to say that I'm not scared of nothing, by the way. I want to point this out. Callie Miller, Katie Cruz, whoever you are, I dare you. I double dog dare you. If this video gets taken down, I dare you. Now I want to point out, I'm going to flex a little bit here, just as a word of, not even a word of warning, just to show you who I am. This will make things a lot easier for you if you, in any capacity, decide to, for some reason, try to take down my video at all. I'm so excited because I almost dare you. I have 130,000 followers on Facebook. That's there. Now, outside of that, on Instagram, I also have 304,000. Now, as you can see on my YouTube there, that is 200,000. We don't need to go through that. But if we also go on my TikTok, right about here, we can see my illustrious 500,000 followers. Now, if you would like to have the combined weights of near 1 million people, you know, just on my side, not against you. No, not against you, just on my side. I'm more than willing to go to war about anything. I'm always happy. I'm always happy. I have time, so much time to do this. So, I dare just try to take down this video. I double dog dare you. Go ahead, do your best. I want you to almost. I really do. I genuinely want you to. Now then, why am I bringing this up? Well, because this man has been threatened by Katie Cruz, saying that Katie Cruz would actively take him in some capacities out. It's terrifying. The person whose thumbnail is playing too, you guessed it, take his life. It's the whole thing. 842,000 views. I was notified of this by my brother because he said, hey, don't you hang out with trans people. I think this person is looking as a bad look for you guys. And I was a little bit confused, didn't know what was going on. Very short video, 4 minutes. Dude didn't even care to monetize this, which is impressive. Very impressive. I like that. So, here's what I'm going to do. We need to support Slyboy here at this community. So, I'm going to point that out right there. That's the first thing we're going to do. Second thing we're going to do is if anybody would like to help me figure out more about Katie Cruz, because I'm going to make 4 more videos. That's right. I'm making 4 more videos talking about maps, Katie Cruz, whole thing. And I, with every fiber of my being, dare you. I just dare you. I am so happy. Now, let me explain why I hate maps. Maps are dangerous because they are Endora's backpack. But beside them being Endora's backpack, they have rebranded predation as a philosophy. They have taken the language of advocacy and duct tape it over the instincts of exploitation and call it healing, while everyone else knows that this is, without a shadow of a doubt, just grooming. And by the way, YouTube, do not demonetize this video. I'm watching you. This is me educating people about publicly available information that is out there. This is disgusting. They're not doing the trench coat in the alley anymore. They're wearing pastel flags and they got PR slogans about inclusivity, and it's dangerous. This is genuinely dangerous. They are trying to normalize attraction. Now, this is important, and this may be a little bit controversial. This is very important. I think that if you have a genuine urge inside of your body that makes you more below stairs aroused by people that are of a younger age, I think you genuinely need help. I think you need to talk to somebody about that. I genuinely think you do. There's something wrong with your brain chemistry, and you need to get that fixed, genuinely speaking. Because what happens when they get older? Is go for another person that's significantly younger. That's so much there, and it's disgusting. And I do want you to seek help. I do. But the fact that you try to weaponize this and make it seem like you are okay, that's not good. You cannot blanket this with the trans community in any capacity. That's disgusting. Genuinely disgusting. Map rhetoric is dangerous because it is engineered for emotional disarmament. Speaking in soft voices about not offending while privately fantasizing about younger people the way wolves fantasize about a broken fence. That's disgusting. You can't trap it in therapy words, community building, because if they use the plain truth, no one would listen long enough to let them pass the gate. You just speak the plain truth. You try to say these things, use these plain words, say these things. I'm an attractive person. You know what you are. You know what you are. Just say it. Say the word. Vampire. Just say what you want. You can just say it. The entire point of childhood is safety, learning, and becoming. And predators worship the unfinished version of a human being because unfinished people are easier to sculpt, easier to bend, easier to break. And people who lust for vulnerability are not harmless. They are opportunistic gardeners waiting for the bloom to open so they can own what does not belong to them. That is disgusting. That ideology depends on society forgetting that innocence is not ignorance. It is untraumatized time. It is the state of still believing the world is not built like a weapon. And when you hunger for the fragile version of humanity, you declare yourself its enemy. You fall in love with the chrysalis because you don't respect the butterfly. That is disgusting. And I hate that they call themselves marginalized to blend in with genuine victims. I am somebody that has been through horrifying traumas, and this disgusts me on a visceral level. Weaponizing empathy by standing next to people who deserve compassion so they can feel the halo by proximity, hoping the world would confuse stigmatized with misunderstood, as though the stigma comes from superstition and not centuries of shattered childhoods and scar tissue that learned to speak years too early. That's disgusting. Map discourse is a slow erosion strategy. First, make the term sound harmless. Map. It's a guide to the body. Then you make conversation sound academic. Then you make moral lines sound complex. Then you float the idea that maybe the children, they have the ability to make choices for themselves. And all this is simply leading a staircase downward spiral with carpeting soft enough to people don't even notice. They are already in the basement. The danger is not just the person, right? The alien versus the person, you know what I mean? It is the normalization, the slow trickle, the PR makeover, the creeping illusion of nuance around something that requires no nuance at all. And this is so rare for me. This specifically requires zero nuance. I am the nuanced guy. People hear me speak and they say, holy crap, this disgusting, weak, enlightened centrist. This is one of the very few things where I don't want to see both sides because it does not exist. Agency is not a riddle. Consent is not a puzzle. Children are not participants in adulthood. They are protected from it. We should never apologize for a firm boundary between adult desire and childhood safety. It is not hateful to protect a child. It is hateful to believe the child exists for you, and every time someone asks for sympathy before accountability, they announce that they are not looking for healing, they are looking for permission. Map ideology corrodes the definition of harm by trying to move the goalposts. Well, attraction isn't abuse, they say, hoping we forget that attraction does not exist in a vacuum. It is a gravitational pull towards action. And when your compass points towards, I don't know, someone much younger than you, as you say, the mere trajectory is the danger. A person who has learned public relations is more dangerous than one who hides because presentation can become camouflage and people love charisma. The moment society treats predation like an identity, the door cracks open not for safety but for grooming, not for understanding but for infiltration. And all of it is wrapped in empathy that is being weaponized against the very people it pretends it protects. Children do not need tolerance for the people who want them. They need walls, teeth, sunlight, locked doors, and adults who refuse to collapse the language of protection into the rhetoric of validation. Because childhood is not a diplomatic zone, it is sacred terrain. And anyone attempting to normalize the hunger for it is not misunderstood. They are a warning sign with a pulse. This is bad, and I hate this. I really do. So, Katie Cruz, I'm sure you're gonna find this video. I'm sure you might even watch to the end. Try. No, genuinely try. I dare you. I'll do you a solid. I'll make it easy for you. Make it easier for you. I stay in Detroit, Michigan. Now, if you don't know about Detroit, the population is 77% Black people, my people. So, you have all the power. As a matter of fact, if you have a personal message, I'll give you my longitude and my latitude. You're more than welcome to do anything you wish to attempt to send me anything or something of that variety. I'll tell you what, my whole name, Ceros Delegranz, CEROS It's my first name. Second name, after that, LAMBIEAT. Then DAALZABUB, Kaiser Whaley, KAISER space Whaley, WHALEY. Why did I give you my full name? Because I want to see you trying to send me something. Very curious, if you will. Very curious. Very curious. Because I'm not going to back down. I would love for you to have all my publicly available information. Very long name, isn't it? Don't worry, I put subtitles in, spelled it out for you. Very easy. I'll put it in the top comment too. I would love for nothing more than you to try to stop me from making a video. I would crave it. It would bring me no greater joy on this planet than to see you try and watch me mobilize my 1 million plus subscribers, people, followers, against what I feel is to be a threat on society. So I dare you. You have my full attention now. I'll be making 4 more videos about this. Please share the video. Please show this to people. Please follow Slyboy, or at least talk to Slyboy, and know that he is supported by an innumerable amount of people. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day or night wherever you're at. There's no sponsors in this video or anything in that variety. Hopefully you stay till the end. Bye. Happy to try what you need. You're what I love to see. I love the ride when you're free.
Time for another beer. I gotta go piss. BRB. Sissy. No, I'll be a Mercy, actually. Fuck it. Oh, I'm gonna go with my Mercy. 1922, yeah. 1922, baby. Sissy. I learned how to call my cat. It's very late at night at 9 or 10. Yep, there she is. See, there she is. Hey, kitty. Hey, kitty. Good kitty. Good kitty. I'm very happy with you. Hi. Hey. I'm not going to jump on you. You're okay. I'm just going to shut the door. No, here, kitty. I'll get you fresh food. Hold on. Here, I'm going to take this. I'm going to give you fresh food. Don't worry. Yep. Here's your fucking dinner, kitty. Sorry about that. Don't jump back into the game. Yep. I don't want to lose this match. Oh god, did I spec? Oh god, I didn't spec. They're probably mad at me. I don't care. Hell, no, I didn't do it. Oh well, I don't care, frankly. It's better that I don't lose the match. I don't think they're paying attention. It doesn't matter. Ugh. You went immediately out of my fucking LOS, you idiot. Get my LOS. Oh, you're so annoying. Oh, we got it though. We got it. Yeah. No points. I had to feed my kitty. It was distracting. I'm gonna go do some real life stuff in between, but first we got a spec. Yeah, first we go distortion, first responder, items. We're gonna go dir. Oh, that's kind of a shame, but anyways, dir. And oh no, wait, no, I'm sorry. No. Go back to survival. I want to da 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 da. Okay. Then was that good? Yeah, that was good. So then I gotta go turn the light off and turn on my electric blanket. There we go. My phone needs to charge. My watch needs to charge. All the real life stuff. I'm gonna get it done right now. Fast, you know. Give me fast. Yeah, do this fast. No, that's not fast. No. Oh, my mouse is plugged in. Yeah, but my mouse has battery. Yeah. Then I'm gonna plug my phone in, and it's right there. Then, hi kitty, I love you. That's a hungry kitty. Yeah. Hi. Gotta turn off my light. All my lights. So. Hi kitty. Excuse me. Gotta step through. Okay, gotta play the game. Gotta play the game. Gotta get my electric blanket on first because it's getting cold. Yep, there, get that thing away from me, but I want this thing. Hold on, kitty, hold on. Hi, kitty. How are you? Hi, sissy. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I gotta play. I'm sorry. I'm healing the tank, sissy. You understand? You see him? I'm healing that guy. You see him, sissy? Yeah, I gotta heal that guy. I'm sorry. See him? He's thumbs upping at me right now. Acorn for the win. I'm not leaving you. Chase the healers down the rabbit hole. Oh. Oh. What the fuck was this? That's not so good. Poor Reaper fell. Oh. Hey, kitty. Something's really hard underneath you. There we go. Get it away from me. Hi. Hey, kitty. I'm sorry. I'm healing this match, so. Okay, time to cuddle with the kitty. I'm sorry about that, kitty. I was just mid-match. Yep, see? Hey, there she is. There she is. Hi, kitty. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm going to put you down for just a second. Hold on. I got to go get my beer. I'm sorry. Hold on. Sorry about that, kitty. Don't come back. Come back, kitty. Yeah, I was just, getting up. It's in between. I'm in a match, kitty. Come back. Kitty. Sissy. Anyways. My cat, she's like busy and she's like, oh, you're annoying. You won't make up your mind. And I'm like, yes, I'm sorry, I'm busy. I'm terribly sorry, I'm healing. I'm healing, kitty, I'm healing. Don't worry. What do I do? I think it's like that thing. Yeah, like that. Yep. Okay, so. Oh, look, I have 442 health. They're not going to get me. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a Reaper. Oh, yeah. Kitty, come here. Come here, kitty. Huh? Oh, look at the kitty. I'm eating dark chocolate peanut butter cups. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Dark chocolate peanut butter cups. So good. Mm-hmm. Hi, pretty kitty. I'm going to vote for the camera. Hi, pretty kitty. Yeah, I'm such a happy purry kitty. Purr kitty. Yeah, I'm just stroking my pussy. She's such a beautiful animal. I love her so much. Hi, kitty. You going away? Okay. She's an inquisitive animal. She likes to move around and check things out. Mm. Mm-hmm. There's 9 grams of fat in this. How is that possible? Or 9 grams of fat in each one? Yeah, I bet. I don't care. Hi, Alzam. How many grams of fat is in a daily diet?
Fat is an essential nutrient in a balanced diet. It helps with energy, supports
How many
cell growth.
grams?
For most adults, dietary guidelines suggest that about 20 to 35.
Thank you. I just ate them all. I pretty much had all of it. What I had pad thai today and chocolate peanut butter cups. You stole my kill. Hi, kitty. You back again? Okay, here, take my lap. Hi, kitty. Hi. Sit down, kitty. I want to put this on my lap. Yeah, there we go. Hi, kitty. Hi, sissy. Oh, you're such a good kitty. Purr, 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 purr. I lost, or sorry, did I? Yeah, I won my last 3 until I met these people. Let's see how it goes. Big booty Rudy. Wow. Let's go, big booty Rudy. I spent a point in a res, but I didn't get it. Why does it look so bad? Why does this session look all fucking like pixelized? It wasn't looking like that all the time. Ugh, why am I all pixelated? It's fucking stupid. I could leave, but it'll just get me banned out. I'll go to Fortnite, I guess. Why is it like this? Why is it all pixelated? It's like it wants me to lose. It's weird. You silly kitty. Purr, 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 purr. Kitty, kitty, kitty. I love my kitty and a cold beer. Good kitty. Such a good kitty. I'm so happy with this kitty. She's such a good kitty. I gotta tell you guys. I'm holding her right now. She's such a beautiful kitty. I don't care what happens. I got a kitty in my lap. She's purring her guts out and she's just like trying to be her fucking best kitty that she can be. And she teaches me to be the best sky cat that I can be or whatever. And there's no negativity or whatever. Yep. She's like, shut up, you're too loud. And I'm like, no, I'll speak my mind, kitty. I love you, kitty. I'm gonna clear the mat for you. There, yeah. Electric blanket. Distortion. Third. Go. Subject. Oh, thank God. It's people that I don't recognize the name of. Yay.
Which was
with the full prosthetic legs.
Yeah, which was awesome. Yeah, the best steps of my life, dude. For real.
Pop into the bottom.
Yeah.
Hells yeah.
So that's a good start.
So let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, stand. Okay.
Oh.
It kind of takes a second to like kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
So
Doing good, buddy. Doing good.
A little bit more weight on
Ugh.
as it goes.
Ugh, that would be terrible.
Legs are pretty sick, right?
Yeah. You're there. Good. Wow. Good job.
How'd I do?
Hey, what's up, guys? Real quick, I've got a reminder. This entire video from start to finish is now available in an audio-only podcast form on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, and many more platforms. Just look up 5Cast. 5, capital C, capital A, capital S, capital T. It's a pretty sick logo. It's like a drone shot of an autumn forest with an amazing 5Cast graphic emblazoned over the trees. So if you happen to be a truck driver hauling loads across this great nation, performing an essential service that keeps the population fed, I have some great news for you. You don't have to be distracted or possibly risk your life by watching a video. You can listen to 5Cast audio only. Just look it up, give it a review, give it a listen, whatever you want to do. Enjoy yourself and be safe. All right, back to the video.
So they gave me the ultimatum. I told them I want the amputations, and I called my mom and told her what's going on. She took time off of work, came down to visit me in the hospital. They went through with it. Worst pain of my life.
You weren't sedated for it?
Well, I was, but when I woke up, it was just like,
Okay.
just like mind-numbing pain, dude. Like, you're just like, what is happening? Coming out of the surgery, it was like crazy. And then the dressing changes, like on the raw nerves. So what they do first is they take your feet off at the ankles, and they do that to make sure that your body's going to respond well. Because if it doesn't, when they do what's called the formal amputation, they might have to move higher, if there's a bad reaction or something. So they start at your ankles, check how you're doing. If it goes well, then they move into the next stage, which is the formal amputation here.
And that's below the neck.
Yeah, that's called a BKA, below the amputation. So I'm a double BKA.
Kitty.
The prosthetist told me, he's like, the higher
back.
up it is, he's like, the more energy that your body actually expends trying to like adjust to it. So he said, this is best case scenario for an amputation, which is cool. Like in the hospital, I didn't know how I was gonna like deal with all of it mentally. Like I had the identity stuff. Like this wasn't supposed to happen to me. This isn't who I am. The stages of grief. What is it? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Yeah, I went through all that, like kind of before the surgery even, in the denial, like this isn't gonna happen, bargaining, like what can I do to maybe try to fix this? And then afterward I was angry, I was depressed, and then finally like I just accepted, like, all right, so this is what happened, this is reality, and I'm gonna face reality, So that's what I did. You know, I set my mind to it. Like I'm not gonna get into this negative downward spiral and, you know, be all woe is me, because like the bottom line is, if I didn't lose my feet, I would probably be dead. And that's the truth. You know, where my body was at the time was giving up totally. You know, my kidneys were failing. I had cirrhosis of the liver, which since I've gotten my hepatitis C cured, I took the medication. So I did that when I got home. I said I'm not gonna be that guy. You know, he was just, you know, down on himself all the time. So I chose to see the positive in it. I'm a lot. Yeah, I'm still here, man. You know, there's a lot of people that aren't for, you know, much less than something like this. Yeah, so.
You think a lot of the people that you were with on the street that, you know, you were with whenever I first met you, have a lot of those people passed away?
Yeah. She's just recently, my friend Bryce passed away a couple of months ago. I stayed with him here and there down in Kensington. Bailey just died a couple of weeks ago, the end of July. My best friend growing up, Jay, he's not from down there, but you know, I've known him since I was 4 years old. He just died the end of July. Went to his memorial. His mom was a mess, and God bless her, dude. She lost her 2 other kids as well to overdoses. Jay, Patrick, and Matthew. They were my best friends growing up. You know, like I lived with them. I went on vacations with them, the whole deal. And they're all gone now from addiction. There was Nice just died. Well, I don't know if he just died. I actually just found out though that he was either killed or overdosed. I'm not sure which. Just know that he passed away. Mike, I was the last person to hit him before he went to the hospital. So, you know, essentially the last person from Kensington that saw him alive. He died from sepsis, you know, blood infection. They couldn't get him under control, and it killed him. Yeah, I mean, there's a list this long. I couldn't even tell you how many people. And that was even before Kensington. You know, when fentanyl came out, it was a massacre. It was a massacre, dude. We were losing 2 or 3 people every week because I was sober at the time. So I was sober in my life for 5 years at one point, 2 years right after that, a year and a half. And when I was sober during that time is also when fentanyl really hit, at least on the East Coast. And it destroyed us, man. You know, like I said, we were losing people 2 or 3 every week for, I don't know, 7 or 8 months before people like realize that they can't do it, you know, or they gotta drastically reduce their dose. Yeah, fentanyl is crazy strong, man. It's crazy strong. Yeah, during that time sober, I tried to help people in the area, like around here as best as I could. I was like the pillar of sobriety in the community, you know. And during that time is also when I became a CO. Yeah.
At a county or state prison?
State prison. Yeah, I worked at yeah, it's legal security. Doesn't really need much. It's more open, you know, there's more contact between inmates and guards and stuff, but, you know, it's really all the same from what I understand.
I knew that you were sober prior to Kensington, but I didn't know that you had that straight load driven.
Yeah, that's the opposite. Quite the opposite. Yeah, so, I mean, I guess it kind of gives me a unique perspective in a way. I guess, you know, it's considered law enforcement, you know, at one point, and then going into, you know, living homeless on the streets for years. This crazy, juxtaposition, you know, that I was, dealing with mentally. And, you know, I had relapsed while I was working at the prison. So I was about a year and a half sober. My grandmother passed away, and, you know, I had become complacent in my sobriety. So I wasn't going to meetings, you know, I wasn't doing commitments, like speaking at rehab and stuff. I wasn't calling my sponsor, I wasn't working the steps. And that eventually caught up to me. I started hanging out with, you know, people I shouldn't was hanging out in bars. I wasn't even doing anything. You know, I was just going there just to hang out in the environment. This is getting into advice, you know. Yeah, I was doing that. Eventually caught up to me. My grandmother passed away, and that was kind of the catalyst. You know, that was what really vital. And I created music as a coping mechanism to do it. Yeah, stuff, you know. I liked it, and nothing got you know, the whole world was coming crashing down around me. There weren't any police lights or sirens or school. All right, nice. You know, I remember thinking, like, this is why I did this every day. You know, I wrote feel good. That's the lie, though. You know, they feel good at first when you take them. But yeah, no. So I relapsed while working at the gym. So I was doing dope before I went in. I didn't bring anything into the jail, so I didn't get high there. I didn't bring stuff in for the inmates, but some of them did. They knew. They knew that I was getting high. A couple of them like asked me, like, Rob, you gotta be on something, man. Like, you know, you're doing something. Like, mind your business. You know. Eventually, even my coworkers started to catch on. You know, not doing anything for that long, fentanyl doesn't last very long in your body. At least as far as the best stuff. So I start to get sick relatively quickly compared to like how heroin is.
Dope sick from withdrawal.
Yeah, dope sick from withdrawal while on shift.
So you're throwing up in the bathroom.
Throwing up, sweating, you know, generally miserable all the time. And I would hide my stuff off property just because in case anyone did get suspicious, they can search your vehicle if you work there, you know. So I would hide my stuff off the property, get out of jail, off shift, and go and do my stuff right down the street from the jail. And man, like, I feel like the biggest hypocrite in the world.
Yeah,
You know?
totally.
Yeah.
Especially because so many people in county and state prisons are there for drug-related
Oh my God.
offenses.
Yeah, I'm looking this dude in the face and he's in there for, you know, a possession and paraphernalia for the third time. And like, you know, I got 2 bundles of dope hidden down the road underneath a patch of grass. You know, it's like, man, what am I doing here? And instead of bringing clarity from that, I think it almost compounded it more because then I felt guilty about what I was doing. So I wanted to cover it more, you know, so my habit increased. Even more so, it got to the point where I was shooting 15 bags of fentanyl per shot, like 3 times a day. Do it before work, as soon as I got out, and then
15 bags of
you know,
fentanyl
just
per
doing
shot.
like $200 in dope a day, just myself. That's when Brittany caught up with me. She had relapsed and asked me if I could get her anything.
So just to clarify, you and Brittany were together when you were a CO, when you lived around here.
So we were friends.
Gotcha.
So we were friends in sobriety for like 4 years before we ever even, you know, started dating, which was cool. She actually tried to help me during one of my first relapses. When I relapsed after 5 years, she called me and was like, "What are you doing, dude? You're gonna die, you know, this and that." And she tried to save me. And I get sober right after that. But you know, we can cover that. But yeah, no. So I started selling drugs to her. I was meeting her in my uniform, you know, selling dope. Like,
What?
Craziness, man. And then eventually it all caught up to me. I was staying at my grandmother's house. I had moved out from, I was living in Wilkes-Barre. I moved down and told her what was going on. She said, "Come home, you know, maybe I can help you." She had tried to do that before. So I took some boxes like 8 hours after I'd done my last shot, which is fine. It's terrible. But it's yeah, so it's just different. And I went to facilitated withdrawal. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's essentially withdrawal condensed into like 6 hours instead of like 5 days. Absolutely vicious. Puking, diarrhea, shivers, shakes, convulsions, sweating, cramps, just everything that can happen at once, happening at once and amplified. You know, like withdrawal in itself is terrible, but you know, condense that into a couple of hours is like, what's even happening? You know, so that's what happens if you take Suboxone too soon. After fentanyl. So yeah, I'm laying on the doctor's floor, naked. You know, my grandma comes in and she's like, "What the hell's going on?" I told her to call my parents and something. So I was taking this up, and I had a long weekend, and I was like, I'm tired of doing this. I'm gonna get clean. So you know, I took Suboxone with good intentions in mind, but it didn't work out that way. So I realized later that night that I had insurance, and I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna go to rehab. So I decided to go to rehab, walked out a couple of days later, you know, AMA, and shortly after that, I caught a charge. Britt and I had started going down to Philadelphia to cop, and I went down one night by myself. I parked in a parking lot and did drugs all night, and on my way home, a cop lit me up for speeding. And it was a bunch of coke, and I was out of my mind. Yeah. And I decided I'm gonna run. You know, so it was a state trooper. Yeah. So I ran. me, I'm gonna go up the road and disappear. Perfect. So I'm doing 125 down Route 11 the whole way, so 10 miles. You know, swerving around cars, crossing lanes, and I get into Shikshini, and it worked, right? So I hit the brakes, cut the turn, he hits his brakes and slides past me, so he's got to turn around and do the whole thing. So I'm going up the road, I'm like, yeah, I get to the top of the giant oak tree in the road, two concrete barriers in front of it. Yeah, so I was stuck, and I thought about getting out and running, but honestly, Eric, I was too spun out. So I was like, you know what, fine, I'm caught. He comes up the road. I had already gotten out and put my hands on my head. He came over and kicked me in the head. He was pissed. Yeah, he kicked me in the head, cuffed me, and they saw my duty belt in the back seat, which is like your work belt that you wear for the jail. You know, holds your radio. Your
And he was
spray
so
and stuff.
mad. He was
they're
probably
like,
so mad.
what's with the duty belt? You cop? What up? Like, what's up? I was like, no, I'm the CO. They're like, where? I don't really want to tell you. They're like, we're gonna make one call and find out anyway, dude, where you work. So I told them Dallas. And, you know, they gave me the, what the hell are you doing, man? You know, because they were stadies too. So there's like a sort of camaraderie.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Same field of employment.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
co-workers, kind of.
Yeah,
In a far-flung way.
in a way. You know, they catch them, we keep them.
There before the grace of God goes I.
You know, I just told them, like, I relapsed a while ago, and I've been getting high the whole time. That was probably about a year into getting high. That was May of 2020 that happened. And I had been going back and forth to Kensington before that for a couple of months, copping. And, you know, I got arrested. I bonded out with my motorcycle. I had thrown my drugs out on the street. I ran down, got those on my bike as soon as I got home, and then everything blew up. You know, it went into the papers, and you know, it spread around. So at that point, I was really kind of giving up on the idea of being a CO anymore. You know, like just the whole weight of everything was getting to me. I just didn't really know how to exit. It's probably more of a self-implosion, I guess you could say. I don't know how to put it.
There's probably some embarrassment, too, that came from having your name in the paper.
Of course.
You know, CO caught with drugs, caught working a high-speed chase. It's pretty good news for the tabloids.
Yeah, and in a small town like this, you know, that was definitely big news. So I'm at home. A couple of days later, I get a call, and it's from the jail. I knew the call was coming. They're like, we need you to meet us here and take a drug test. Can't. My car's impounded. They're like, all right, well, we'll get you. So they came pick me up. Went, gave them a drug test. They called me back in a couple of days later, went to the jail, and they gave me an ultimatum, go to rehab or get fired. So the union is strong in Pennsylvania with COs. So, you know, those guys have that going for them. So the union was backing me up. If I went to rehab and completed, I'd be on a year of probation at the jail, where, you know, they have a set of rules. They can drug test you anytime, search you anytime, whatever. And I went to the prison, or rather, I went to the rehab and walked out like 4 days later. And I knew what I was leaving behind when I did it.
You just weren't feeling it, you didn't like the structure of it?
It wasn't even anything, because all rehabs are pretty much the same. I was just like, I didn't want to be clean, and just the whole stress of everything was like just driving me crazy, you know. And at that time I was on I was on FMLA from the jail, Family Medical Leave Act, and gives you time off, paid time off without pay for, you know, medical emergencies, whatever. So I walked out of the jail, came back to my parents here, got my
Family
car, went to
Medical Leave
Kensington,
Act. That's
and
cool. I
got
like that.
shit. I stole money off my mom so I could go cop. I was looking for my grandma's pills, and I found her jewelry, and I started selling her jewelry. So I took all of her jewelry, which was really shitty, you know. It was a bad move.
The jewelry that my dad had gotten me since I was younger, and I had lost my dad.
It was 18 karat stuff, so you can't really get that in the U.S. even. I mean, you can, I guess, but it's more common overseas. Generally.
So he took it all of it. And it was a dilemma, you know. Of course, I was crying, and, you know, they're like, you know,
No sense crying.
call the police, and you know, you don't want to call the police. You don't, you know, that wasn't my thing. And they're like, you're not going to get better if you don't do something.
stayed in my car for a while. And then that's what it was for a while. We were staying on a block. And then one night I got into a fight with some people. They jumped us. Me specifically, but they punched Britt. She pepper sprayed him. He jumped in my car. I tried to run the dude over. He jumped out of the way, and I popped my tire. And when we got back to the place where I parked, that was essentially the end of my car. I don't think I ever moved again from that point. I had a flat tire, and nobody needed a new one. I already had a donut on another wheel, and the neighbors got tired of us being there. So I woke up one morning with my car on fire. Someone had set it on fire while we were asleep. It lit my headrest on fire, so I woke up with flames around my head. So I woke right up, the car's on fire, get out, and I went to try to pat it out with my hands. I wasn't thinking, you know what I mean? Foam is melted plastic, and it stuck to my hands instantly. Second and third degree burns with both my hands. I went in shock, called the ambulance. I went to Temple. Was in the burn unit for a couple of days. Walked out, and that's like the sounding motif in my life is either rehab or the hospital after a couple of days.
I mean, detox rehab. 20 years of my life became pretty much
I started using drugs when I was 14.
So yeah, no, I'm gonna say about 18, because I really didn't know about this stuff in the beginning.
Yeah. You know something I was kind of curious about? I don't know if I ever asked you, but when I started using drugs, did you guys have any idea?
No, nothing. None. You were just a brat.
I did sit over 25 rehabs, probably close to as many hospital stays, that I used every time. I would have left this last time, honestly. I wanted to, but I couldn't. Just to make a side note. So I wrote a book about all this. So I don't know if that's all right.
We'll put it in the description box and the pinned comment.
Yeah, it's not out yet. But it should be probably by the time this comes out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an ebook, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So I'll put it on Amazon. But I cover all this stuff in it. But yeah. So it all caught up to me.
If he was like there's no, really, as I sit here right now, there's no way he would have made it. There's just no way. I know it. I see it. I saw it in his wounds. I saw it in his face, his hands, his legs. I just saw it in him that there was just no way. His body was done.
Yeah, I was diagnosed with cirrhosis. I had Hep C, which I've taken the meds for that, so I'm cured of that now. And I've been sober since February 16th, I think. When I finally got out of the hospital, they said if I was strong enough to leave, I could go home. So they did the test if I could transfer myself. I was able to. So my mom called my dad, asked if I could come home. She said yeah. So before we left, I went down to Kensington to see Britt and to get high one more time before I left. It was kind of something I had to do, mentally, just to I don't know, I guess put some closure on it.
Right.
So I did that. We came back here, and since I got home, I've been doing really well. I'm really proud of myself for that, actually. This is the longest that I've been sober in 7 years. I don't know, 8 or 9 months. Honestly, I'm not really counting the days this time because I was expecting to die. So, being able to wake up here and, so we'll play this game. We call it Anybody Tell You, right? And the goal is to get that person, you say anybody tell you to that person the first time that
means
day.
I love you.
It means anybody tell you I love you today, and we play it every day, and it's nice.
Yeah, and him and Jim.
And the goal is to get that person, you say anybody tell you to that person the first time that
means
day.
I love you.
It means anybody tell you I love you today, and we play it every day, and it's nice.
Yeah, him and Jim, it's like it'll be 1 second after midnight and they're both yelling at each other.
We're trying to sneak up on each other.
It's just the thing that they do, and our thing, and my always thing with him was whenever we were getting ready to hang up on the phone, I love you lots and lots. And my biggest thing was what? Don't get dead. Don't get dead. That's what it, and that was it. You know, I love you lots and lots, and don't get dead. And he was like, I won't, you know.
Never give up hope if you have a just be there for him. Tough, but never give up hope. God works in mysterious ways. For example, like that. It's easy to be fooled behind a computer screen, you know, and you see a lot of nasty comments, or let the guy die, you know,
or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill him.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
Right. I look at it like this, like purity contests kill. And what I mean by that is like in AA, you know, or NA, it's how much time you got. Are you on Sandbox and if you're on Sandbox or not? I'm on sub, you know what I mean? And maybe I'm not clean, but I'm alive, you know. That's for sure. And I don't want to use drugs today.
And do not come for opioid users. Because if you're not an opioid, you can cause a harm.
That's what I mean by somebody might say, oh, why did you get off stuff? And they're getting crazy and go do some fentanyl and overdose and die. You know, because of somebody else's opinion. So I'm not even really counting the days like that. I'm just been working steady. I'm writing for like, I don't know, 6 months now, 7 months. You know, that's been my main focus. But since I got home, you know, I started going to drug and alcohol treatment. I started going to mental health therapy. I took medication for the hepatitis C. I got on subs. I had a corrective surgery on my right leg. I got an infection after I got home from the hospital, and I had to get that taken care of. Like, if I was on the street, I never would have done that, you know? It would have just festered, and I probably would have ended up the amputation. Seen that so many times down there. You know, people with amputations, like, they end up back out there to like it's not really you.
Alright, what's up, guys? As anybody in recovery will tell you, staying grounded begins by doing. That's one of the universal truths that applies to everyone. But what if I told you that while you're focused on keeping your real life in order, your online life could be wide open? Oh shit. Whether you realize it or not, your personal data is floating around the internet right now. Every click, every search.
I mean, I had to go home. I could have stayed another week, but I wasn't prepared, but it would have been fine. I would have. And he's like, no, Mom, I'm coming home with you.
I'm just really surprised you were able to successfully take that final time of getting high and somehow still get sober after that. Because that sounds like a recipe for a long-term relapse.
Sure.
You know, you're like, oh, I'm just going to get high once more. Like, how many times have you said that before, probably?
About 1 million. Yeah, about
So
1 million.
what was it about this particular situation and this time that really made you feel like, all right, I'm ready, let's do this. I'm leaving Philly, I'm going to come out to the beautiful Northeast Pennsylvanian foothills and take this sobriety seriously?
When I got home, that wasn't really my mindset, to be honest with you.
Okay.
In the back of my mind, you know, I wanted to get high every day, all day long. I just wasn't able to, you know, I wasn't able to do it physically. That's what I mean by this, you know, saved my life. Like, I would definitely be in Kensington right now if this didn't happen. You know, I could tell you that probably without a shadow of a doubt, or dead, you know, one of the two. I probably would not be sober. But, you know, when I came home and as time went on, my mind started to clear. And, you know, going to the mental health and the drug and alcohol counseling every week. And the Suboxone clinic, you know, they have a kind of a social worker that we talk to there, someone who's sober. I just had so much stuff going on, all these appointments that I was busy enough to not really be able to focus on, you know, spinning out of control into relapse mode, you know, and I want legs, and, you know, I want to walk today, and that was like my main drive, you know, at least then, but since then, I'm happier, you know, starting doing all those things. My friend out of there, you know, she's definitely done her part, you know, just being able to help her get out of there and to give her an opportunity to help herself, you know, was really important. And it was just,
girlfriend. Yeah, we've been together for like 6 years. I've been sober for like 4 months now. Me and Bud actually met in AA. He was like 5 years sober. He had it together. Like he was working in the prison, had a job, had his own place, got a car, whatever. Went to the gym, like all of like stuff. I was a mess, guys. Like, I was like 3 months sober, like on my house arrest, and just like living in my friend's recovery house. Like, I don't know.
And you mentioned that now she lives in an apartment in South Philly and she works for a harm reduction nonprofit.
So she lives in a sober house in South Philly, and she doesn't work for the harm reduction, but she'll do volunteer with them sometimes. But she just started working at the Eagle Stadium. She started working at the Eagle Stadium a couple of days ago. So she was trying to get work, but she's on a little bit of a record. So it's hard. That's when the stuff too is, you do all this stuff and mess your life up, and then you want to do better, and it's hard to even get back to your feet. All the records that you got in the past. But she managed to get some work. So
you have a pretty extensive rap sheet from your time down there.
Enough. I mean, I don't know if you want to put this on camera, but I have work right now. I have possession and paraphernalia from Lancaster County. So I have the DUI and the Cleveland State Police in this county. I do plan on handling that, but I don't really do it yet. Now I'm able to go and face that to the point where like, I'm already doing all of the stuff that they're going to tell me to do. I talk to sober people every day. I'm going to the drug and alcohol, monster. Everything that they're going to tell me to do, I'm already doing. Another friend of mine, she lost her arm to trank, and she contacts me a lot because she's going through it with just the mental stuff. I just try to be there for her. So when I do go to court, which I will, it's part of my treatment plan for the drug and alcohol counseling. Is you have to set goals, and one of my goals is to handle my legal stuff.
So you think you'll probably end up going to the station, turning yourself in and explaining that you've been sober for quite some time and having an established track record of good behavior?
Yeah.
If you need help, we'll write you a character letter or something.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah.
I'm gonna pause this and I'm gonna keep watching it, but I'm gonna go get something to eat or start something to eat. Anyways, I'll be right back. I haven't eaten really today. Not really. So what do I eat? I've got chocolate. I've got meatballs. I've got. Oh yeah, that'll be good. Let's just do that. That'll be good. There you go. Relax, kitty. You've been yelling for a long time. What's wrong with you? You've got a meal and water. What, kitty? What? I'm not letting you out. It's 11 o'clock at night. You're not going out. No. You live here now, kitty. This is your new home. Yeah. That's what you say. You live here now, kitty. I don't care if you don't like it. You live here now, kitty. You live here now, kitty. Your master died, kitty. I'm your master now. They didn't plan for it. I didn't plan for it. I'm your stepfather, essentially. I'm your stepdaddy, and I love you, kitty. I'm the stepdaddy. I love you. The kid didn't plan on me. I didn't plan on the kid. The cat didn't plan on me. I didn't plan on the cat. It just happened, and I've stepped in and tried to be a good person here. And the cat just goes wah, 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 like she doesn't have a full food bowl and a full water bowl and a full belly, and she's happy. She is happy. I just touched her and she's like purr, 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 purr. She's all super happy. She's just trying to act all you're trying to act all petulant because I'm loud. I don't care if I'm loud, kitty.
That stuff really goes.
I don't care.
Yeah, it does.
Especially with judges who have a outdated viewpoint on drug addiction.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's a whole topic in itself, dude. You know, the stigma is alive and well on drug addiction. You know, it's treated like a moral issue.
Yeah, it's like if you're getting high, you're evil, and it's weird because it's like I like getting high. What the fuck do you care if I get high? It's stupid. What do you care if I get high? I wouldn't get high on trank. I'll tell you that. But I don't mind meth or heroin or marijuana, ecstasy. There's like a few that I really like, you know. Why can't I just be a consumer and buy those things? What do you care? My life would be so much better if I could just get access to drugs. I would stop using alcohol completely. I'm about to do that tomorrow. I'm going to stop using alcohol completely.
Yeah, I was a state corrections officer in Pennsylvania, and I ended up on the streets of Kensington. It doesn't care who you are, what you did, or what you want to be. There's no discretion, you know?
Nope.
It's like an insidious thing, man, that once you pass, what happens, you don't even know what happens, you know? And then you can't ever cross back over that line, you know? You can't go back. That happened to me when I was a kid, experimenting with pills. But as far as it goes with a moral issue in America is, you know, like you said, they think you have low moral character. It's not the case. You know, some of the best people, the most intelligent people, even the most kind and caring people I've ever met were addicts. Like, you wouldn't even believe the character that some of these people have, man. You know, they'll go out of their way to do anything for you.
Can you think of an example of something like that happened down there?
Well, yeah, actually. I mean, outreach, most of your workers that, you know, work or are, you know, touched in some way by addiction, you know, in a way that's close to that. One woman I know, she makes home cooking, and she comes out, she gives it out, she gives out clothes, and, you know, every week, you need to get to rehab, she'll try to help you out, go to the hospital, she'll help you. But with sober people, they do the same thing more, you know, they take money out of their own pocket, money they don't even really have, to come out and, you know, buy somebody a pair of gloves or a hat, you know, it's getting cold right now, you know, and they're out there doing that just because they want to. And that's all over the place, all over the place. Like, you go to AA or NA, anywhere, you know, they do something called commitments. Those people go out of their way in their to go to rehab and jails and hospitals and speak to people who are still in active addiction and try to show them a better
Kitty,
life.
don't bump my camera. Kitty, don't bump my camera.
Some guys in my home group, my AA home group, which we go every week. There was one dude who was trying to get sober, he was trying to get on his feet, and he was
What?
Check the box. This guy's sober. He's got 30 days. He's good. We did our job. And Robert himself lived in the tunnels.
Yeah.
He was so adamant about it. Unless something happens that makes you truly want to or have to.
Yeah.
And so, feel like, obviously, it's a part of your leg, but you don't seem particularly devastated.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. Like I said, man, I would be dead if this didn't happen to me. Or at least use it as a
And say that to someone who didn't have the life experience you had, that was like the end of their life, where they would say, a reason for them to be sad.
Sure. You take Joe Schmo off the streets and cops, right? But this is the way that I'm living right now. So that's, I'm cool with this, and I have a plan for the future, what's next. I'd like to go to school, be a success, because it touches on all this stuff in a real way, like, I really try not to pull punches in it and just, I don't glamorize it or sit in the sympathy of it. I just tell what it was, man, and it's real. I'd like it to be able to help people, I think it can, but, so that's part of the plan. I'd like to go to school, maybe, I was thinking maybe computer science or something like that.
Yeah, why not? You got so much time on your hands now.
Right.
And you're young, so you could have a whole second life ahead of you.
Yeah.
Or I guess a third life.
Really? Yeah. I was thinking maybe even, like, depending on how it goes, like, kind of an idea that I have would be to, like, do some kind of, like speaking, I don't know if you guys know what it is. Go around and share my story with people, let it be a lesson, or it has to be a lesson. Everybody wants that little bit of relief. Everybody that I know has some kind of gambling, and for a lot of people it's just it doesn't have to come to that. It's kind of like a feature of
There was some guy there. Why was a guy right there?
Addiction problems, because I do think he is.
Be right back.
The thing
I'm
is,
sorry, get it. Yeah, gotta get it.
Tremendously stressful circumstances. Sure. Financially, and we're also being designed to be social media, training the youth for these really short form, short circuit, short lasting dopamine rushes. That's the exact same mentality that will make someone susceptible to doing drugs later in life.
Without a doubt, dude. I thought the same thing myself, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it gives you that little dopamine hit every time you scroll. Every new reel gives you that little bit.
Do you still keep in touch with any of your friends that are on the streets who are still using?
Yeah, I do. I actually spoke to a couple. They're a couple down there. My friend Fish and his girlfriend, and he's down there. I don't know if they're trying, who they are, but I told him, like, come on, man, everybody go get sober, get out of there, dude. It's we're in the surrounding area there. We're just crazy, from essentially up to KNA, and that's KNA,
Right.
and then down to Somerset, and that's Somerset. In between is Clearfield, and you got Cambria too, I guess. But anyway, but I still talk to them when I can, and like I said, they're down there sometimes, and she'll call me a lot of the time while she's down there. So she's talking to somebody, she'll answer the phone and be like, oh hey, it's so and so, and I'll say what's up to them. It's crazy to see them now versus then, because like you don't see the rap when you're in it. Like you do to a degree, but you're kind of just like numb to it. Maybe you're just used to seeing people that
It's
way.
probably a gradual escalation too.
Yeah.
I was ignorant to what it's really like. You know, I didn't expect to get stuck here. It was supposed to be like a quick thing, like, you know, go cop and go home. It doesn't turn out that way. You end up.
It doesn't turn out
I'll
that
just get
way.
well while I'm here. And then you end up falling asleep.
It doesn't turn out
And then
that
you
way.
get back to your stuff and your money. And then
Gee,
you're
you
like,
think
oh, I
it's
gotta
the
go collect
trap.
money. And then, like, next thing you know, you've been
It
here
doesn't
for
turn
2
out that
days,
way.
haven't been home, and you're broke again. And you're like, what am I gonna do? And you don't give
You
a shit
can't.
about any of your
You
other
can't. You
responsibilities
know.
because
No.
you need to get well. I come down here and I see this, and I see how nothing is getting better for anybody. You know, a
No.
lot of times when I come down a week or two or whatever, people are wearing the same clothes. You know, they're still struggling in the same ways, and it's like, I mean, it's not attractive to me, you know what I mean? I'm doing so much better, like, I don't want that anymore, you know? So it helps me find a lot of gratitude, you know,
Hey, it's a snaggletooth.
for what I have now and the work
And
I've
that's what my friends used to call women like this, snaggletooths. And it happens. A woman who's been punched in the face
done, you know?
or fell or hurt herself or some such.
So, you know, a lot of people say, like, you know,
My friends, they used to call my friend. This is why I kind of hate the right wing. Is I remember my right wing friends who were actually proud right wing, and they used to call my friend who was raped by a Littleton police detective and left to die in a dumpster, snaggletooth hooker. And I really don't like that. You know, I can't laugh at it. It's not funny to me.
oh, you're gonna use or whatever. I'm like, huh?
They used to think it was funny. It's not funny.
Absolutely not. Like, what part of this would make me want to get high? What part of this is selling it to me?
And
Nothing.
looking at them from where I'm at now to seeing them on the street, it's like, man, I just looked like that, you know, like skinny, dirty, out of my mind, you know, for how long, you know, and seeing them now, like you want better for them. You know, you want them to do better for themselves because it is possible, you know. That's the thing is it is possible to do. It just doesn't seem like it a lot of the time.
When you're talking to them, do you preach about sobriety or do you just kind of wait and let them know the door's open?
I let the doors open. Yeah. Can't get anybody sober, unfortunately. Wish you could, but
Nope.
it doesn't work that way, you know. So yeah, here and there, I'll send them a little bit of money, you know. Not too much because, you know, you never want the guilt of somebody, you know, something happening to them from some money you sent them or something like that. But here and there, if somebody's sick, you know, I'll send them $10.
Do they say that conditions have improved there at all?
They said it's about the same from what I heard. It's just moved. I heard Somerset's really bad.
So the city policy of cleaning up the area is not really working.
I guess I can't say directly because I haven't been down there since then, but since February. But from what I've seen on the videos and stuff, it looks pretty much the same as it did.
Was it ever lost on you living down there for so long that it's kind of like hell on earth?
No, I knew it right from the gate.
Like truly?
Yeah.
I've been a lot of places.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like the most evil capitalistic sensibilities of human would be to sell the things to those people. The neglect from the city, the neglect of the environment, and just the state of being. It made me wonder, how do you maintain a positive worldview after exposure to so many human evils?
Because there's still good in the world. There's still good, and you know, good and evil are a choice. Even if the world exists in that state, and some places are like that, you don't have to be if you don't want to. You know, even on the street, I tried to hold on to my humanity as much as I could. Sure, I've hurt people. I've been hurt. I've stolen. I've been stolen from. You know, all the stuff that comes with it. But even through that, I tried to maintain some sense of character. I felt like that was really important to me because you see people get totally lost. Who they once were becomes totally gone. And I mean, that was true for me to a degree. But I always told myself, I'm not going to let it turn me into a monster. You know?
It did though.
Close to that.
Yeah, it did though. Yeah.
In some cases.
Yeah,
sure.
you stole from.
You know, like
You stole gold from your family.
Before, you know,
I've stolen some a couple
robbed
$100
people
from my
violently
family, but
before.
not gold.
You know, I've always justified it by, you know, I'm doing what I got to do to survive. But I mean, I was fully aware that it was morally wrong. Of course, to a degree, I felt guilty afterwards as much as I could, you know. Under the influence of drugs, it numbs a lot of that stuff. Honestly, that kind of thing comes out when you get clean. Like the emotions that you buried for so long. Like, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've cried, like just sitting there thinking about stuff or writing. You know, like you become like emotionally sensitive after getting clean for a while. It's like your body's trying to rebalance. So, you know, all these different chemicals are flooding your brain. But yeah, as far as being a monster, I've been one before, you know. Like I said, one of the enemies.
Yeah, you were the CO that was
I was
crooked.
talking about before was there was this one girl down there who would come to me to get hit, and she like stopped paying, and there's always an IOU, an IOU, an IOU, and then I hit her the one time, and I saw that she had money, and I was like, "You're gonna give me money? What?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't really have it right now." I'm like, "You have it in your hand right now, you know." So I sent a girl on her to, you know, get the money. I'm like, you know, I'll give you a cut, go get it. And she did, and the girl ended up getting hurt. And then her boyfriend then came after me one time. So I was sleeping, and he like shook me awake. He's like, "Are you Bud?" I was like, "Yeah." He started trying to stomp me out while I was on the block. So I'm like, y'all just gonna stand there? Because my people were around, you know what I mean? So they got him. Then so he got pepper sprayed and beat up, you know, sent off the block. But then from that point, we had this, you know, I had an enemy. You know, whenever I would see them out, it was always like, is it gonna happen right now? You know what I mean? It's always like, and when I was in the hospital, that person threatened Britt, you know, and she was like, listen, I wasn't even there when that happened. You know, she's like, I had nothing to do with that. Like, if you got a problem with him, have a problem with him, but I didn't do anything. So that ended up working out with her, I guess. You know, nothing ever happened to her, thankfully, from that. But yeah.
Your
Yeah,
gang
just
shit is so
things like that,
dumb.
you know,
Even as the
parts of
commanding
yourself
officer,
that
your shit
you
was
never thought
so
that you
dumb.
would do to someone else, you know.
I've always been
Like,
smarter than this
just, like,
guy.
some powder in a bag, you know. It's like really meaningless at the end of the day. But the harm that you cause isn't, you know. That stuff sticks with people. Like, I was jumped really badly down there once. They were gonna kill me. So I hit this girl, and she walked off with some guy. She was like a fairly regular customer of mine. She was usually there with her boyfriend. This time she was there with someone else. A little while later, I walked around the block, and she was passed out on the street. And she woke up, and her stuff was gone. So she starts freaking out. Da-da-da. And she's like, "Who was I with?" So I told her, and this dude claimed not to have anything, whatever. So later that day, her boyfriend comes to get me, and he's like, "Oh, hey, she needs to get hit again. Can you come down to the house and do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Let me finish up, whatever." So I go down to the house, and they're like, "She's about to be here soon." Calls her, sets the phone up on the step, and he's like, "Can you see?" I'm like, "That's weird." She's like, "Yeah." As soon as she said yeah, they start beating the hell out of me, dude. 3 people. I was locked in this trap house. Like this scar on my head right here is from that. They broke a board over my head. Picked up some kind of stick, smashed it over my head. Blood started falling. They were beating me up. "You think you're gonna rob me?" Da da da. I'm like, "What are you talking about, bro?" And then I remembered I saw guns in that girl's purse when I hit her, and I told her, I was like, "You gotta like get out of here with that. Like that's not a good look here. You know what I mean? Like bringing heat here." And then she ended up getting robbed for it. On top of a bottle of Xanax bars, 2 bundles of dope, like $200, and 2 pistols. So it was like $3,000 worth of stuff that he thought I robbed him for because I hit her. And I'm like, "Bro, I didn't take your stuff." And they ended up searching me, and they found a Xanax bar in my sock. That's what he told me. He's like, "Ah, I knew you were lying." I'm like, "What are you talking about, man?" He's like, "She had a bottle of Xanax, green Xanax, in her purse, and you have one on you. I know you took it there." I'm like, I remember the dude that paid me at the bar. He had a bottle of them. So I
This
told
is
him,
how drugs
I'm like,
actually is.
Like, yeah, dude, like this is who did it. Like,
This is how
yeah,
drugs actually are. Excuse
don't
me.
snitch, whatever, you know what I mean? You don't roll. Listen, that's to the cops, man. I didn't have anything to do with this come up. You know what I mean? I made nothing off of it. And they were threatening to kill me. you know, in this house. And on top of that, when they had found that, they had already sent a guy out to go get Britt and trick her into coming into the house because they thought maybe she had it on her. So Britt and I's lives are literally on the line. So I told him, and he's like, "Oh well, he didn't really believe me still." And then Britt walks in the house, and she said the same thing that I did, which was, "You saw me out there working on the street when you walked up. You know what I mean? I was literally there hitting people. If I stole all your stuff, you think I'm still gonna be hanging out right there? Like, what do you think? I'm stupid, bro? Like, no. Like, I know what that means. That's, you know what I mean? That's death. Somebody will kill you for that. They'll kill you for much less." So I guess that convinced him because he ended up letting us go. He told me though, he said, "I'm gonna be watching you," and he's like, "If I see anything, you know what I mean, that looks like you had something to do with it," he's like, I'm gonna kill you." He's like, "I'm gonna kill you." But he said he's gonna kill Britt in front of me first. You know what I mean?
And there's really people like that down there.
Oh yeah, that happened, dude. And that's, you know, not the only case. You know, I've been jumped other times before for, you know, pettier stuff. But that was the worst one. I actually thought thought that was the end.
But there's a lot of straight murderers down there.
Oh yeah, yeah, a lot. You walk by them every day, you know, down there. Those corner kids, they got guns, man. You know what I mean? They shoot. They're definitely shooters. Even when you went to go see those brothers, man, the Trank brothers, they had guns on them. They don't hesitate to use them.
Yeah, that was probably the most scared I've ever been in my fucking life.
Yeah, I bet.
Just because it was like, I mean, those guys were really making Trank in there.
Yeah.
It wasn't a situation where they'd ever done an interview before. I don't know why they agreed to it. But, you know, what I've learned is even people who are doing the most, like, objectively evil, you know, selfish thing, they still want to be documented.
Right.
People have this, like, it's like a super ego thing where it's like they just think they see the importance of it. And so they can look at it from an outside perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. When I saw the video, later, I had actually almost even forgotten that I did it. And a bunch of people started coming up to me and they were like, "Did you see the video you're in? Da da da." And I was like, "No, what are you talking about?" Because you can't keep a phone in Kensington and it gets stolen all the time.
Yeah.
And I watched it. I was like, "Oh shit." Then I saw you go into the brother's house and I was like, "Oh man, like you got some balls, dude." Because that could have gone south for probably your camera guy too. They would kill you in a heartbeat and not feel bad about it. There were some guys that I dealt with on Weymouth Street that were of the same caliber. You know, Weymouth Street is a cold-blooded street. Very, very cold-blooded. Spanish guys, no papers. You know what I mean? Just totally anonymous down there selling drugs, and lots of them. The owner of Weymouth, from what I understand, lives in Hawaii. You know, and
So he's an absentee landlord.
yeah, yeah.
You ever seen that rapper Skrilla before?
I've seen him before. I don't know him. I never met him. But he would do music videos down there sometimes. I was in a music video from a guy named Slater. He did a music video called Zombies, and I was in that too.
I fell in love with the Fetty, fumándome un papo en Fede. Me quieren setear por las redes, te puedes morir si te atreves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that characterization of the people down there as zombies?
If you're looking at it without an opinion, it's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I saw the videos before and I was like, man, that's so fucked up calling people zombies. And I got there and I was like, oh shit.
They're zombies.
Totally. It's a dehumanizing way to describe somebody.
Right.
But I mean, it's extremely accurate, specifically because of the effects of Trank when you miss.
Yeah. Dude, Trank is vicious. I mean, my hands are all scarred up. I got scars on every part of my body. Just like crazy. Let me see if I can show you one real quick, dude. My legs were huge open sores. Well, you saw them,
Yeah.
I think, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw them. So
They were already inflamed,
yeah,
ballooning up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sure not to the extent of when you had frostbite,
right.
but they look like they were infected with some kind of
My friend, I'm not going to say his name. We're going to say DW. He had swollen feet. And I didn't really know what it was. And now I do. But I mean, that was way back in 2015.
called sepsis.
Yeah.
Or maybe if not sepsis, I think what's the word? Necrotizing fasciitis.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So the Trank eats your skin away. It's extremely caustic in itself. On top of that, it's a vasodilator. So
He was a drug dealer. He was blind. And he was a drug dealer. And nobody fucked with him, you know? He was a blind drug dealer. He was actually very interesting. and I would go and deal with him because I really liked him. You know, he would cut you real, he would cut you well, you know, he was not a scrub. He had a very interesting story. He was in love with the current living sister who passed away now, Denise. I don't remember the name of her sister now. I want to say Nicole. I think it was Denise and Nicole. Denise was a friend of mine through my ex-girlfriend M's ex-boyfriend's drug dealer. And Denise was a really tied in lady in that whole crew, both in the ICP community as well as just the druggie community. And Denise and I were immediately really fast friends. And for some reason, Denise was like, "You're awesome. You're never going to fuck me over, are you?" And I'm like, "Nope." And she was like, "You're actually awesome. I've lived enough to know when I see that." And I was like, "Well, that's cool. You know, I'm glad that you see that." And Denise and I were fast friends. I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm just not into fucking other people over, you know? It's just not really my fucking vibe. If they want to help me, they want to help me. If they don't, they don't." And she actually really liked me. And she was like, "My kids are full-blown robber baron thieves, and my daughters are fucking prostitutes." And she was just like, "I hate my family." But she was like, "You understand me better." And she was like, "You're my drug dealer's best friend." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am your drug dealer's best friend." I used to say this to people like, "Hi, I'm Tim's best friend." You know, or whatever, because it's like, you know, because when I go up into the room, he knows that I'm not there to rob him. I don't need to rob him. I've never needed to rob him. I don't need to rob anybody. It's kind of like Rust, and Rust is sort of like that too. Everybody suspects that you're there to offline them or something. But honestly, I don't think I ever did voluntarily raid in Rust. Isn't that weird about my personality? I'm a nasty drug dealer type and I'm fucking mean. But I just don't really see the value in taking someone else's work, because it just sort of, and I'm going to be honest about this, it implies that you need that help. And sometimes when you're in a group, sometimes you do need that help. You know, in times in groups, it makes sense. But when you're solo, it doesn't. Most of the time, robbing somebody else when you're solo doesn't really make sense. It's weird, but I really actually feel this way. A lot of other people don't. But I'm like, when you're solo, you should not rob people, especially because you might be the victim, you know? So if you pass it on, the problems keep going.
The area. So you get infected or you get a scratch, it can't heal, it gets infected, and then it grows. And because you keep doing the drug, and often you keep going in the same place because that's the only vein you have, it just compounds over and over and over again. To the point, I mean, I've seen people's bones in their arm. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've seen people's leg bones, foot bones. You know, just walking around like that. A friend of mine told me she was actually hanging out with somebody on the block one time, and he was sitting there with his arm like this, and I guess he leaned on it, and his arm bone snapped while sitting there. You know what was funny? When I watched the documentary back, you mentioned self-amputation, right? And I was like, that's ridiculous. I'm like, why would he even say that? And then I thought about it, dude, and I was like, no, that happens. So like, there's something called hot veins, right? That's if you inject somebody in an artery. If it happens above your neck, you almost immediately go into a seizure.
Yeah.
If it happens below your neck, like in a limb, particularly your wrist or hand, it'll cause a blood clot instantaneously.
Yeah.
So I did that.
This is why I don't fuck with
I hit him in his
needles.
wrist. I said, I don't know, dude, it looks hot. He was sick and he had to go to work at a block, so he had to be there. And I hit him in his wrist just a little bit, and he's like, no, it's hot, it's hot. And he stopped, and instantly his fingers started turning purple. It was on his right hand. His pinky and ring started to turn purple. then deep purple, and then he had to go. And I told him, I'm like, bro, you need to go to the hospital. Like, fuck work, bro. You're gonna lose your hand if you don't do something about this now. I was like, you need to go to the hospital, tell them you had an arterial injection, and get it treated with IV blood thinners. Or like,
And he's like, no, I'll lose my job, and then I'll never be able to get high
His
again.
fingers eventually grew black, dried out,
Ugh.
and died. And he had to get those amputated in the
Ugh.
hospital. But as far as self-amputation, I've seen the same thing happen where somebody doesn't go to the hospital and the limb just eventually dries up and falls off itself.
Yeah.
You know?
To clarify, I never saw any self-amputation, but Roz, the harm reduction worker, she said that some people who can't get to the hospital and ends up turning black and they just cut it off themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I could absolutely see that because, I mean, by the, like I said, I have seen it, you know, with like fingers particularly.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it wouldn't surprise me that somebody else has seen like entire limbs come off because it's real. Those infections get so bad and eventually like it just kills everything. I've seen people shoot into exposed veins, like so their skin was eaten away, they can see their vein and hit in that vein.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, man? Maggots, bro. I've seen maggots.
In people's skin.
Yeah, I've had maggots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maggots?
No, dude. No, it's not a good look, man. Maggots are psychologically.
Yeah,
awful.
that's the worst part. And they probably are chemically or biologically aren't that harmful.
They're good for you chemically and biologically.
But they're the grossest thing. They're grosser than roaches, in my opinion.
Yeah, dude. They eat rotten flesh.
They're white, right?
Yeah, they're white little crawling worms, dude.
Yeah.
Man, I had them in my leg, my wound on my left leg that I had. Dropped them before I knew they were there. And I'm like, that's not what it is, you know?
Yeah, you're like, it's going to be me.
Right.
It's got to be other people.
Right. Trying to lie to myself. And then it just kept going, because they start small and get bigger, you know? And
maggots in your
eventually,
flesh?
I knew what it was. And I lifted up my leg and they were in my fucking leg.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this last run I was on was 6.5 years. It's the longest I've ever used drugs consecutively, aside from starting to smoke weed when I was 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you started smoking weed for fun.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at earlier. You started smoking weed because smoking weed is objectively fun when you're 14.
Right.
It's about as much fun as you can possibly have as a 14-year-old.
Pretty much.
And that escalated into other drugs.
Right.
It wasn't as if you were, I don't know, but were you treating any kind of like deep pain there?
Yeah, no, actually, I wanted to actually go back to that. No, dude, I was curious. I saw a DARE presentation when I was in grade school.
DARE, Drug and Alcohol Resistance Education. Many of you who went to school in the 80s and 90s may remember DARE.
Get DARE at your kid's school too.
They came to the school and they had this case full of replica drugs and stuff, and they passed it around the audience and said, you know, these are what drugs look like. They're gonna make you feel awesome, so don't ever do them. And you know, that kind of sparked a curiosity in me that was like, well, you know, how good are they gonna make me feel? Why shouldn't I do them? You know, and if people are willing to give up everything for them, then they've got to be great. So I started to research drugs, and I learned all about them when I was like 9 or 10, 9, 10, 11. You know, I just researched.
I was like
researched,
14.
We got the internet, so I found out more about
Yeah.
it, and I decided that I'm gonna try getting high. So when pills eventually came into my life,
Me too.
I knew different ways to do them, and I heard that sniffing them was the best way. So that's what I did.
Wait, so you're drawing an actual DARE presentation to drug use pipeline here?
Yes.
So it was really A to B?
Yeah.
So you didn't even know about drugs?
No.
And then they come in and say, hey, here's all these things that are gonna make you feel amazing in the moment. Don't do them.
Right. That's exactly what happened.
So you go to the library, and what happens after that?
So I started reading about all these drugs and what they do and like their side effects and this and that. I read about inhalants and stimulants.
All
and
my
opiates
friends
and
do this.
alcohol, and marijuana, and you know what I mean? Any book I could get.
All my friends are goddamn crazy chemists who understand exactly what drugs are and what they do. I'm particularly good, but only about the experience. You know, I know the experience of Datura, microdots, psilocybin, acid, like, methamphetamine, heroin, yeah, marijuana, tobacco, not that those are really drugs. I'm thinking about like other crazy drugs that we abused. I used to really like nitrous. Knew a lot of people that really favored nitrous and fried their brains on nitrous. Acid, a lot of acid. Meth, cocaine. Cocaine wasn't really big in West Denver. At least not for us. Like, we don't, like, I don't know. Now for my friend Jed, cocaine was actually kind of crazy. But it's not really like this thing that was common. I really didn't know anybody who could score cocaine in Denver. He was one of the few.
I was just absorbing.
There was a really big cocaine and crack scene in Denver. There absolutely was, but I never met any of them because cocaine just wasn't that big of a scene when I was around. My inner circle seemed to really favor cocaine. I don't like cocaine. I don't think it's a very good drug. It wears off after about 3-4 hours. It makes you feel very chemical when you do it. And you feel like you're disconnected from your tongue and your like nerve centers, and it feels more like a disassociative, not a disassociative, but like an actual disassociative, not like a drug, but an actual, like you disassociate from what's happening. They'll give it to you to numb you up so you don't feel anything. I never really understood cocaine addictions. I know that the dopamine from cocaine is great, and I've smoked crack before, definitely. My dealer, he was like, "You should smoke crack with me. No one else is around. You should smoke crack with me." And I'm like, "Okay, sure, I'll smoke crack with you. I'm not really scared of it. Sure, show me crack." And he loaded a crack pipe and he handed it to me, and I smoked it. And I was like, this is good, but it's basically cocaine times 10. And I've never really liked cocaine in the first place. And I was like, I don't think I would chase this. And he was like, that's odd. I probably would. And I was like, no, I don't think this is my drug. I think like 1 or 2 hits of meth is going to keep you high for 3.5 to 4 days. 1 or 2 hits of crack is going to keep you high for 4 to 10 hours. And I used to say this to people to try to break their drug addictions to things that I didn't agree with. I used to argue with cocaine addicts. I'd be like, yeah, you do a line and you're high for 2 to 6 hours. If I do a line of speed, I'm high for 2 to 6 days. And then I was like, the only high that's stronger than meth is heroin. And yeah, and heroin does get you much higher, more higher than anything I've ever been on before. All those drugs, But the problem with heroin is it's like, once you do it, it immediately desensitizes you to it, pretty much immediately. I'm talking like within a couple of days, you're just like, oh, this is not getting me as high as it used to, even just 2 days ago. And then at the end of it, you're like, oh, if I don't do this drug, I'm going to be sick. My guts are water, is how I think of it. My guts are water, and I'm just going to shit them out. And my gut's sick, and I feel like I have the flu. I really do. I feel fucking sick. I'm dope sick. If you've never been dope sick before, being dope sick is like the worst feeling in the fucking world, and it has nothing to do with reality, kind of. It's this feeling that you're addicted to something and you've got to go get it, and if you don't, you're fucking sick. But I mean, if you go do it, you're not going to get better, because whatever you're sick to, be it fentanyl or heroin or whatever it is, you're not going to see that again. And the same goes for speed, like with meth. And they used to cut meth with fentanyl. And like back in the days, if you did methamphetamine, people knew because you were like super hyped and you were like ready to fight in an army by yourself. It was like PCP, but more like coffee. It's like coffee if it was PCP. Essentially, is what meth is. If coffee was PCP, that's what meth is. It's essentially, pseudoephedrine. Ephedrine is a lot like caffeine. It's basically the same thing. And there is a really good euphoric high to be had there if you smoke it. Really good. I'm talking like probably the best I've ever had. Better than heroin. Not really better, but as close to heroin as you could ever get. And the problem with all of these things is they don't last. Like, sure, you can get fucking high on cocaine, heroin, speed, but 6 hours later, you're like, oh my God, I'm a full-blown addict. I'll do anything for this. I'll trade my fucking future, my money, and my family's money for this. I'll steal to do this. I'll sell my body to do this. It's like crazy. Immediately, you're like, I feel like I'm only going to ever want this. If I don't go get this, it's going to destroy me. And I've experienced that so many times that when it happens to me, the other junkies, they'll be like, do you feel anything? And I'll be like, yes, I do. And they're like, why don't you go do something about it? Why don't you go get more drugs? And I'm like, because I don't want to be a slave to it, you know? And they're like, what do you mean? Well, to make the $100 to $300 it would take to keep a meth or a fucking heroin habit going every single day is so much money to me that I might as well be robbing banks, and I don't really see it. And that was my problem back then. I used to be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal to be a meth addict. It's kind of like you have gone to marijuana, but instead of marijuana, you like speed. It used to sort of feel like that. And I used to be like, even at parties, I used to be like, I'm not ashamed of my drug addiction. I used to tell people, I'm not ashamed of my meth addiction. I think it's superior to cocaine. I used to say right to their fucking face. I used to be like, meth is superior to cocaine, is superior to heroin. You do a hit and it lasts 6 hours. I do a hit and it lasts 6 days. And they're like, what? And they don't really believe this about you, but they've all done meth and they know exactly what the fuck I'm saying. Because what I'm saying isn't bullshit. One hit of heroin and one hit of cocaine will last maybe 6 to 8 hours. Think like getting drunk on a Friday night at 7 p.m. By 5 a.m. On Saturday morning, you're not drunk anymore. You're kind of like up and you're foggy, you're brain foggy, but you're not like fall down drunk. You might not stumble anymore. Okay, so, it would take eight hours for cocaine or heroin to work out of your system like that. For methamphetamine, it's like 4 to 8 days. Now, you're not super high past like 16 hours, something like that, like maybe 12, 14, 16 hours, something. But then, you're just high. You're still high. Like 2-3 days later, you're still fucking high. I'm talking like days later. You might have slept 2 or 3 times. And you still feel like on Monday morning, you'll be like, oh my God, I smoked meth on Friday night. And I'm not saying that meth is good. I'm saying that the actual the real problem for meth for me was that the consumer value of meth is something like 10 times. We have a legal version of meth. It's called Sudafed. You can understand how efficacious meth is. That's Sudafed. They use Sudafed to combat the common cold because meth is really effective. I like thinking about meth all the time. When I think about it, I see the purple glass pipe. And by purple, I mean like there's a purple prism of crystal glass shards. that break along with the glass and the meth pipe, and all of it is crystals, and all of them melt. And when you smoke them, you get prisms of purple crystals in your mind that are kind of like nets, or like, I don't know, like veils. And the veils are made of rainbow prisms. And that's what it's like when you first smoke meth the first time. It's kind of like LSD mixed with cocaine. Think LSD and cocaine at the same time. And that's methamphetamine, I'd say. You're extremely amped up. You have a cocaine metaphoria, but you're also like paranoid, and you're also like methamphetamine has a very strong visual effect to it, kind of like LSD. It's not weak like cocaine or heroin. When you do meth, you might actually have visual distortion and stuff like that. So then these guys talk about fucking trank or rotting their legs off and stuff like this. And I'm like, I just don't really understand that. Because to me, three or four hits of actual pseudoephedrine methamphetamine will do what this guy is talking about, but it won't rob you of your legs at all. You'll be walking around on your legs, totally full of energy and very happy.
And like, I made a decision.
And all my life, they said meth was the worst drug out there. All the time, I think I would never, ever be a crack addict. I would never, ever be a cocaine addict. I've been a heroin addict if you smoke it, but I would never, ever, ever mainline shoot heroin. That just wouldn't ever happen. I would never, ever do that, but I would smoke it. And I feel that way about marijuana and, any other drug pretty much. But the strongest drug is methamphetamine. One hit of meth is like 10 hits of anything else. And that's why I struggle with alcohol. My mother now, she got me to make a vow of sobriety this weekend because I'm just like struggling with alcohol because it isn't shit to me. Drinking half a, okay, I used to do this a lot. When I was on methamphetamine, I would drink like, an entire goddamn handle of vodka like it was water. And meth is so fucking strong that an entire handle of vodka is like 1/10 of the strength of, a bowl of meth. I wish I was kidding. So when you expose yourself to that kind of light of the sun, if you fly that close to the sun, it just melts all of your joints and your fucking mouth and your teeth and your fucking mind and your dopamine levels. And then sex doesn't feel as good as it used to. Nothing feels as good as it used to. I used to mix sex and meth quite a lot. People do that quite a lot. And I do that too. I used to mix sex and meth quite a bit. I used to go in the meth scene, look for anybody that was female and fuckable, and just be like, hey, we don't have any limits. We're meth people. You want to get high and fuck in the back of my car? And you'd be surprised how many girls are like, yes, I do want that. You'd be surprised how many of them are like, yeah, I do want that, actually. Most people don't offer. I'm like, yeah, you just want to just go get high in the back of my car and fuck like animals for like 5 hours? And you'd be surprised, like, some girls really like getting high on meth and fucking all night. Like, all night. So then after that, you're like, well, most sex is really boring. Most normie sex without meth is incredibly boring to me. There's no jackhammering or like, sweat or like breathing or like dilated pupils or any of that stuff. And I mean, like, party, and we used to call it PMP. It's like PMP. It means party and play. It used to be really big in the gay scene, but anybody in the Denver mess scene knows what PMP means. It means like getting together with a stranger. And I used to do this a lot. Get together with a stranger, get high on meth because they're not scared of that, and then fuck like rabbits for like 12 hours. And I did this like 20 times or something. I was just like, hey, I like meth. You like meth? And they're like, well, no, you put out an ad and you're like, party and play, PMP. And I've got gear. You say, I've got gear, PMP, show up. And we'll just fuck like rabbits for like 12 hours. Here's my picture. If you think I'm acceptable at all, just, hit me. And you'd be surprised how many women are just like, yeah, you want to fuck for 12 hours? And they show up and they're like, get me high. And you're like, I'm going to pull out a meth pipe now. Are you sure? And they're like, yeah, I'm sure. And you pull out the meth pipe and they're like, give that to me now. And you load the meth pipe. Like, I'll take the stem. And I'll be like, hey, you really like this? And they're like, yeah. And you take the stem of the meth pipe and you dump it into the sack. You take like a quarter of a fucking gram and you just dump it into the bowl. And then you flip it upside down and you hand it to them. And there's still crystals inside of the fucking stem of the pipe because you used it like some kind of siphon to take a quarter of the gram or whatever it is. And it's like, here you go. And you load like, you load like, $15 worth of meth in a pipe and you hand it to them. And you're like, have fun with that. And they're like, what do you mean? And it's like, you can just keep hitting it. I don't care. And they do. They sit there for like, 15 minutes. And they're just like a crackhead. And they're just like, oh my God, it feels so fucking good. And then they jump you like a jaguar. As soon, like, 15, 20 minutes later. And I used to do this to girls quite a bit. It's called party and play. We used to do this quite a bit. And like, and then eventually, sooner or later, they're just going to get naked and they're going to get on top of you and they're going to fuck you like a champion. And I mean that. They're going to fuck you like a champion, not like your girlfriend or your wife. It's like a girl that's on a drug binge sex, where they're just like, okay, I'm here with you for 5 hours. There's a vibrator. We're in the back of a car. You just gave me like a quarter gram of meth and I smoked like, 85% of that or something like that. And I'm ready to just, my vagina's wet. I'm ready to just jump on top of your dick and fuck you for like 6 hours. And that's what they do too. And I actually really miss it. Drugs did a lot for my life and stuff, but what I really miss is what drugs used to do for my sex life, because women that are super high on some drug, they'll just fuck for like 10 hours. Like, I used to be sort of known for getting sidetracked for like 10 hours because some girl would just get in my car and then, at that point, we're just going at it for a while, and they have the same addiction that you have. There's no judgment. You don't think of them as some like crack whore or whatever, like their family or their friends or their boyfriend does or whatever. You're just some dude they just met who's horny, who likes them. And so then they jump you and they're like, no judgment. And you're like, no judgment. What? Like, what do you mean? Like, no. And then lots of really crazy mess sex happens. You watch porn. You mimic the porn. You like watch like, you watch what they want and then you do that to them. You ask them, what's your turn on? And they tell you, and you pull that up on the porn screen and then you play it for them. And they're like, oh my fucking God. And they start jilling off right in front of you and shit and start squirting and shit like this. Cause girls are completely unhinged if you give them the permission to be. Or whatever, not the permission, and it sounds sexist, but I mean, like, if you're like, hey, I'm gonna be just as crazy as you. Here's the bowl. Here's me. Here's my naked body. We can just do whatever. What do you want to see? What kind of porn do you want to watch? What if you were to watch porn and jill off right now? What would you type into the search engine? And then you go to that, you pull it up, and what the girl wants to watch really turns you on, and you're like, oh my God, and you jack off with her for like 10 minutes or whatever, and at that point you just begin to fuck her, just for like hours, and I really miss that. I kind of miss that. I miss what drugs did for my sex life. Do you guys feel that? I don't think you guys were there. I don't think you share the same history or the same memories and stuff, but I really like drug sex and I really fucking miss it. And I think normies can't offer it to me. A lot of druggies don't get drug sex anymore, so they have dysphoria. A lot of people won't cut loose. So when you do cut loose with somebody and fuck them in the ass on meth for like 8 hours, they're like, oh my God, I've needed this for months. The girls will say it right to your face. They're like, I've needed this for months. I can't believe you're actually willing to do this with me. And they'll be like, oh my God, I love you. I can't believe you actually did this with me. And it's like, I mean, you know, it's what I wanted. It's what you wanted. You know, we got all high on meth. I lubed up and I fucked you in the ass for 4 hours, you know? And then, you know, we did some nasty things and took some other stuff. And now we're here and it's like 5:30 in the morning and we're like necking and I'm touching your pussy or whatever. And you're like telling me how fucking amazing I am, particularly because I just don't really have any barriers, you know, or whatever. I do when it comes to men, but not with women. And they're like telling you that you're amazing, but you know that in the next 10 or 12 hours, you've got to go home, sleep for 8 hours, wake up and deal with your normal life or whatever. But for that like little romp, that little Cinderella romp where you're just like fucking the girl in the back of your car with a vibrator and some meth or whatever, I miss stuff like that. I actually really do. Like most girls, they actually really like that sort of thing. You wouldn't think that they would, but spontaneity is actually a really strong driving force in the feminine sex drive. So you just suggest it to them or they suggest it to you. They can see that you're high when they get in the car and they can tell that you're a scumbag. And then you're just like, hey, you want to get high and go off in the corner somewhere? And they're like, what? It's like, you want to get high and go off in the corner somewhere? Nobody's expecting us for like 2 hours. You want to go do something somewhere? And they're like, what? And to them, that's like some kind of suggestion from the devil or something. It's like something really crazy to them. They're like, you know, what do you mean? And it's like, do you want to go fuck in the back of my car for like 5 hours? And they're like, what? And they can't really comprehend. It's like, you know, you can say no if you want, you know, I don't care, you know, if it's not your thing, go just say no. But you'd be surprised how really powerful that can be as a freedom tool for a personality or like a being or an id or an ego, like an ego for an ego, where like you can just be like, to a girl that you like, you can just be like, you want to get high and fuck for like 5 hours in the back of my car or whatever. And they're like, what are you talking about? They'll act crazy at first, but if you can actually land it, it's insane. I really actually miss it very badly. I used to be brave enough to actually do stuff like that. Proposition girls, you know, proposition girls, just be like, I've got a car, a vibrator that plugs into the cigarette lighter, you know, 3 or 4 grams of meth or something like that, like tons of other drugs and stuff, and like 10 hours or something. And it doesn't matter what happens. The sun could come up, and the worst that'll happen is there's sun on the door, on the dash of the car or whatever. And you're just like, come be completely depraved with me for 5 or 6 hours and I'll fuck you like a fucking racehorse. You just say it right to their face. Like, I'll fuck you like an animal. I'll just fuck you like an animal for like 5 hours because I'm high on meth, and I'll just keep fucking you for 5 hours. I'll just keep coming inside of you over and over again for 5 hours. And they don't believe you until you start doing it. You just do it to them. And after a while, you begin to realize that all of it's subjective. Everything, all of it is subjective, especially making money. Making money is the most subjective pleasure that there is. You can make a lot of pleasure, you can take a lot of pleasure out of making money, but I wouldn't say it's the same pleasure as convincing a girl to fuck you for 5 hours in the back of a car somewhere. I wouldn't really say it is. I wouldn't say it's, I wouldn't say it's the same sort of driving thing. It's a different thing. And sometimes you can mix those two things, or a crazy lifestyle. Sometimes 3 or 4 things you can mix them. Like, hey, let's go fuck like rabbits in the changing room of the Macy's while you steal $500 worth of clothes from the store. You ever fucked a girl like that? Because I've fucked a girl in the Macy's of the fucking Park Meadows Mall, and then had her steal clothes while we were doing it. And this has nothing to do with my weakness of character or her weakness of character. It's like, what are you willing to do if just cut loose? It's like a personal mental experiment or something like that. And after a while, I began to realize that all of those things I used to crave, I've had them now, and I don't crave them like I used to. And I feel like a much stronger man, much more in tune, much more in control.
After I had, consumed enough knowledge.
Consumed enough
I
drugs?
tried drugs.
Yeah, you mean consumed enough drugs?
Like, if people are willing to give up their entire life for them, then it's got to feel pretty damn good. And I wanted to feel that. But, you tell yourself it's not going to be you. Everyone does. It's never going to be you. You're not going to be that guy.
Who falls
You're not that guy.
Yeah. That's the thing of it, is you never think it's going to be you. Even, something like this, amputation, you never think it's going to be you. That only happens to other people. So, yeah, I tried drugs when I was 14. Started smoking cigarettes when I was 11. You know what I mean? Because that seemed like some kind of a drug. They said nicotine's a drug. Well, my parents smoked. Let me try drugs. And from there, it escalated to pills. I tried them when I was 14.
Pills.
And it scared the hell out of me. So I only did that once because I liked it.
I went from marijuana to acid to alcohol to shrooms and microdots and nitrous. And then we didn't do a lot of other drugs until we were like 3 or 4 years later. We started looking into the legal stuff that we could do, like Datura or Jimson's weed, deliriums and stuff like that. The what's that God particle stuff? DMT. We did a lot of DMT. And it's like after a while, you're just like, the only high that I really like is getting drunk, smoking some weed, and then taking some psychedelic or something like that and mixing them all. And after a while, you get kind of used to it. And you're like, oh man, I like ecstasy with cigarettes and tobacco and alcohol. And you mix them all. But that only works a couple of times before you're like, I'm not as strong as this high. This high kicks my ass every single time and leaves me completely fucked out and exhausted and feeling like shit the next day and totally fucking hungover. And you realize that a few times in your youth, 5 or 10 times something, you have a high that you're never ever going to have again.
Opiates, right? Not benzos.
And this is why I don't mess with any drugs anymore, really. I do marijuana, but that's it. Like, I don't really mess with any drugs anymore. I'm the craziest druggie that you will ever meet. If someone were to be like, shoot this up or smoke this, I'd be like, okay. Which is fucked up. I'd be like, okay, I actually really would like that. It sucks. I have a yearning desire for that. But the difference is, you don't need it. And I used to think that when I was younger that you need it. Like, you need to be high. You need the experience. You need to be able to tell people that you chose it and chased it. And honestly, I really don't think that getting high really adds to a lot of life experience. It doesn't really add to your life experience.
She passed away.
You
in July.
definitely know what it's like to be high if you get high on a bunch of different drugs,
Yeah,
and
he's the
that
first person I
and
spoke
that
to.
makes you a little bit more
Yeah,
more
so he's-
wise, like a little bit more wise.
Person I took opiates with
I
was
keep-
the person that I smoked
I keep pressing my keyboard somehow. Oh, there we go. I'm sorry.
weed with, and it felt really good. The opiates, so it scared me. If people are willing to give up their entire life for them, then it's got to feel pretty damn good, you know. And I wanted to feel that, but you know, you tell yourself it's not going to be you. Everyone does. It's never going to be you. You're not going to be that guy.
Who falls headfirst into deep addiction, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing of it, is you never think it's going to be you. Even, you know, something like this, you know, amputation, you never think it's going to be you. That only happens to other people. So yeah, I tried drugs when I was 14. I started smoking cigarettes when I was 11. You know what I mean? Because that seemed like some kind of a drug. They said nicotine's a drug. You know, oh, my parents smoke. Let me try drugs. And from there, it escalated to pills. I tried them when I was 14, and it scared the hell out of me. So I only did that once because I liked it.
You're talking about opiates, right? Not benzos.
Yeah, Vicodin. Yeah, I took Vicodin with my friend Jay that actually passed away in July, and he's the first person I smoked weed with, too. Yeah. So he's the first person I took opiates with, first person that I
Hi,
smoked
kitty.
weed with, and it felt really good. The opiates, so it scared me, and I didn't touch them. I was like, no, that's, you know what I mean. I like that too much, so I put it off until I was like 16. My grandmother moved in after my grandfather passed away. She had pain pills because she had back problems, and I didn't touch them at first, but I was smoking weed heavily, probably to the point that it was a problem. Like,
Five times a day.
Yeah, you know, whenever I could. And some guys were, some older guys that I was smoking with were like, hey, can you get any pills? Like, do you have any pills at your house? I was like, I don't know why. They're like, we'll give you a bunch of weed for some if you can get them. So I went and I stole 3 methadone from my grandmother, and I brought them back, and the dudes gave me an eighth of weed for 3 pills. And I was like, sweet.
And then we kind of like caught on, you know, because like, where were they going? You know what I mean? I was at work. So the sad thing about it was his mom really needed them. And then when, with him taking them, it really hurt her because then she was in a lot of pain because he was taking her meds. And that was very hard. And then mom started hiding them.
So I would look, and it kind of became cat and mouse, you know. She would hide them, I'd try to find them. And, you know, eventually I was accused directly, you know, and I denied it. You know, denied it. I mean, there was no other excuse for where they could have been going, but I stuck by it, you know. Deny, man. It's, you know, I didn't know I needed them yet, even, really, you know, but I did. And they eventually really cracked down, and, you know, she would start taking her pills with her to go play bingo, and when she would go out, she would take them with her, so I had to find alternate sources. So I started to ask around, and I found some connections for pills. Eventually, they got too expensive, and heroin was the next logical step. So the first time I ever did it, I injected at a friend's house. Yeah, you know, I skipped the whole sniffing dope phase and went right to a needle.
That's the one part of the DARE program that I kind of agree with, is the gateway theory.
Yeah, that's true.
Totally true.
Cigarettes are a gateway drug, I think, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, cigarettes can be a gateway.
But I think there's different gateways. For example, alcohol is a gateway to cocaine.
Sure.
Cocaine's a gateway to crack and perhaps meth.
Yeah.
I look at the opiate track, I don't know if you feel this way, as a little bit different. I think there's more of a pills, heroin, fentanyl.
Without a doubt.
I'm sure once you hit a certain strata, you'd start getting all of them.
Yeah.
But I feel like most people that I know who have had addiction problems, they kind of either follow like that route. Then there's the third route, which is like antidepressants, benzos, that sort of like alternative.
Yeah, benzos weren't my thing. They're not fun. They just make you really tired.
Yeah.
And you can't feel anything. Like, everything is just like flat.
Do you ever now in recovery have problems with euphoric recall and stuff like that? Or are you just so ready to be sober that you don't even think about that stuff?
So cravings are a thing. They happen, you know, and they're going to continue to happen. But my time in sobriety previously has given me like self-awareness of when a craving is happening. I can recognize it, so I don't just like find myself like, you know, lost in euphoric recall, like thinking about Kensington. In the beginning, it was kind of like that. I would just daydream all day about being back there. Something about it, man, it gives you like this, it's just like this pull to the place. It's like a black hole, dude. It just like, you just want to be there for whatever reason. I'll think about it, my heart will race, and then I'll get anxiety. And I'm like, I'm craving. You know what I mean? I'm craving. And when I have that recognition of, like, you can ride it out, you know? That doesn't work every time, or it's not going to work every time, you know? Like, sometimes you got to call somebody, say, hey, man, like, I want to get high, but I don't want to get high. So, like, what do I do? You know?
So what do you do whenever you get an intense craving? Do you have other activities?
Yeah, smoke cigarettes. A bunch. Yeah, smoke a lot of cigarettes.
Yeah, it's the AA drug of choice.
Yeah, without a doubt. Smoke a lot of cigarettes and play video games.
Oh, what are you playing right now?
So I was hooked on Avowed for a while. Pretty cool game. Really good graphics. Some old school games. I was playing Prototype for a while.
Yeah. So you go for the nostalgia games?
Yeah, sometimes. But I like the new stuff too. But I'm not really big on shooters. I'm more like high fantasy RPG kind of.
You like adventure-based open world stuff?
Yeah.
That's my shit too. Fallout, Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. That stuff's awesome, dude.
Anything where you can explore a virtual like plane of existence is tight.
Yeah, it's cool. You know what I mean? Do whatever you want. Build your character up from nothing. Like Dungeons and Dragons are cool. I've been on a kick lately watching D&D campaigns that people are playing. And there's this guy on YouTube called the AI Guy. He's got this campaign using celebrities. So he's got like Joe Rogan, Donald Trump, and he uses their voices, but they play actual D&D characters, you know, wizards and shit. Yeah, it's really well made, actually.
Were you consuming a lot of media when you were out in Kensington?
Not at all.
Just like straight real life shit all the time?
Real life shit all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't even have a phone. Like 90% of the time.
Yeah. You mentioned there's some addictive properties of the streets.
Yeah.
Beyond drugs, just the energy.
Yeah. I think maybe something with that is camaraderie. Kind of the same that.
So it's weird because right now you probably can't hear it, but my kitty is just low key purring like an engine. And that's so much more of a drug to me than any meth or heroin. Other living beings' pleasure and happiness and their like throes of ecstasy and joy and stuff like this. Like when I stroke this kitty's body, she's a farm cat who never got any kind of physical affection for besides her master would occasionally caress her and stuff, but she was like an unloved kitty for 14 years or something like that. Now when I stroke her, she's just like, you know, she goes nuts. I mean, you can see her do it. Like she goes nuts. Like I'll tilt the camera and I'll show you, and I'll stroke this kitty and she just goes nuts for it. She's like, oh my God, the simple joy of you touching me makes my life complete. Basically, that's what she communicates to you as you're doing it. She's like, oh my God, like you touching me is causing this like spiritual like thing. That's what she communicates when you're touching her. She's like, I really like when you touch me. I'm this farm cat that didn't have that my whole life. So when you touch me, it changes her. It changes her, you know? She's like, I didn't know. She'll try to communicate to you, but she doesn't have any way to communicate it. But she's trying to tell you that like touching her, rubbing her fur the wrong way is causing her throes of ecstasy and joy. And she wants to communicate that, but she can't. So she just purrs and she tries to be in the moment like everybody else. Yeah. But she really loves this. And that's how I feel about drugs, but they haven't been like that for 20 years or something like that. So it's just like, oh, I would like to purr like my kitty, you know? And be high on some good meth or something. But I mean, at that point, those drugs are gone. I really like drugs. They were a part of my identity. I'm not ashamed of it.
Expect that you get in AA, you know, people being close and having that bond.
When my mother shames me, I'm ashamed of it or whatever. But I mean, like my own drug-seeking tendencies, I've never been ashamed of that.
Of shared struggle, it's the same thing.
Yeah, like the most camaraderie I've ever experienced was with fellow meth addicts who just, you know, who didn't care what your affliction was. They didn't care what your personality was. They don't care if you have money. You might even be living in their house. It doesn't matter. They don't care what your fucking vibe is, as long as you just get high with them and you don't piss them off.
Addiction, especially among the homeless. You know, we're pretty tight knit.
Yeah, like that tight knit camaraderie. I've not witnessed it in my actual friends, like my fucking inner circle. They're actually not really tight the way that homeless people are. And one of the reasons my best friend doesn't really talk to me that much anymore is I think he kind of considers me to be feral a little bit, or wild, because I used to tell him, like, yeah, like the community that I live with over on Lincoln Street is crazy meth addicts, but none of them have any self-compunctions or shame or anything like that. And it's normal for somebody to just pull out a meth pipe and start smoking it, kind of like, you know, smoking a cigarette or something like that. It's like normal. People will take note of it if you just pull out a meth pipe and start smoking it. They'll be like, whoa, you know, you want to share that or whatever. But overall, like, you know, it's not this thing that ruins you until later, where you realize that everybody else's judgment of it who doesn't do it completely poisoned the entire thing. And so then the judgment drives you apart. The judgment keeps you from your family. The judgment keeps you from your friends and the connections that you spent all your life making and all this stuff. And they ostracize you as some kind of outcast pariah druggie that's not in the community anymore, who chose getting high over being responsible or whatever. And often that's the case. But the difference is, you know, like, I don't know what the difference is. Like that, like there's that and there's not doing that. I don't really see what the difference is between doing that or not doing that.
There's something about it. You don't want to leave it because
you don't want to leave it. It's like people that face the same struggle as you, with the same addictions, the same cycles, the same scams and tricks.
Understand you on such a personal level. Like, this dude has seen you.
Yeah, like I was known for always keeping like 35 cents on me. And if you don't know what that means, it's like in the meth scene, like a gram of meth is like $1, right? So 0.35 of a gram is 35 cents. And I'm known for keeping 35 cents on me at any given time. So it doesn't really matter what the situation is. I can just load a bowl, get high. And all my meth addict friends knew that about me. My whole run for 13 years or something, I kept 35 cents no matter what, somewhere probably in my front left pocket where I can just reach in there, load a bowl. It doesn't really matter what the situation is. I might have even pretended that I was dry all day until I'm actually ready to smoke that fucking bowl. But at any given time, I kept 35 cents with me. And remember, that's 1/3 of a gram. So loading 1/3 of a gram of meth in a bowl, that's like a puddle. So you're just like, okay, hold on. And you're just like, wadung. And you dip the stem in the sack. And you dump 1/3 of the whole gram into your fucking bowl. And then you just melt it into a puddle. And they're like, Jesus Christ, that's a huge puddle. What did you just load? Like 2 grams? And it's like, no, this is like a 30 sack. And they're like, what? And it's like, yeah, I loaded a 30 sack. I always keep a 30 sack for when I'm ready to fucking fiend or whatever. So I don't fiend. And so fiending is something that I did when, you know, you were broke or going to jail or something like that. But it's not something that I really relate to. I don't really like fiending for drugs. So I always kept like 30 cents on me at any given time. If you know what 30 cents is, you've done drugs. If you don't, then you don't.
Get beat almost to death. You know what I mean? He's fought for it.
And you'd be surprised how well having 30 cents will do for you in the social scene where everybody else in the party has no drugs, but at any given point, you always have at least a 20 sack, if not usually a 40, probably somewhere in between because you've smoked some of it. So that's why I say a 30 sack, because you've usually smoked like 10 cents of it or whatever out of their whatever, like almost, you almost have half a gram, but it's actually like, it's like 30 cents because you smoked 10 cents of it and they sold you half a gram. It weighs out to 40. You've smoked 10 cents of it and now there's 30 cents left. But when you dump the entire 30 cents in the bowl, girls will fuck you. Dudes will be like, oh my God, you loaded a whole bowl. And they'll be like, oh my God, you have a whole bowl of meth, and this will blow their fucking mind. You just hand it to them and they're like, what? And it's like, yeah, I just loaded a bowl. What? And they're like, what? And they'll be like, what? And they'll trip on you being like, yo, you loaded a bowl? Yeah, I loaded a bowl, motherfucker. 30 cents deep. I mean, yeah, I did. And they're like, what? I mean, and then they smoke it and they're like, I love you. That's the response when you show them that you have no shame, that you don't care how they get high, or you don't care what they say or whatever, and you show them no shame. That's a fast way to make a friend, like a pretty fast one. And so I know all kinds of tweakers all over Denver.
You know what I mean? Like you're literally. Like,
I don't like being like this, like a house cat. Basically, or not a house cat, but an alley cat, excuse me. I'm basically like an alley cat. I know a lot of drug fiends in the fucking ghetto. I know a lot of Mexican dealers, and I know a lot of white meth dealers and cooks. I know all kinds of stick-up kids and fucked up fucking cell phone thieves and just, weird people. But I don't hang around in those scenes. And when I do, I just load the 30 cents in the bowl and it's like, hey, smoke this with me. And when they see that you're not miserly, that you're not holding back, that you're there for the experience, that you want to get high like them, and you're just as cool with them taking a hit as you are taking a hit. And they're like, oh my God, you're actually cool. Yeah, I'm actually cool. And it's like smoking peace pipe with me, and that's Native American sexist or racist or whatever. But it's not really. Like, I really miss the fucking smoking of a meth pipe with some other fucking depraved drug addict. It actually really opens that fucking, it opens like, it's like truth serum, and they sit with you and you're like, motherfucker, man, my wife left me for my fucking dealer. My dealer stole my truck. In the truck was 4 grams. The 4 grams were stolen by my wife. My wife stole the 4 grams, and I care more about that than I do about her leaving me for the dealer or whatever. You're hearing this crazy fucking story. I've heard stories like that where you're just like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm smoking a bowl with you. That's it. And they'll just tell you their whole life story because you loaded 30 cents in their fucking bowl and you just started smoking it with them. And I did this for 13 years or something. I just saw where loading a bowl would take me. And it took me a lot of places. I learned a lot of things. I fucked a lot of women, and I learned a lot, and I miss this. I miss the almost more than I do video games. The only other thing I like more than the ritualistic effects of getting high on methamphetamine is, playing video games. And while neither one of them are particularly healthy for you, I do like them.
Brothers at that point, and then you leave and you think about that guy, you're like, man, is he, what's going on with him? Like my friend Mike,
yeah, I think about that guy. I think about my friend Cody, and that came up recently a couple of times. My friend Cody, he was, I want to tell Cody's history, at least is what I understand him. My friend B and my friend A, who I already talked about tonight, they were my girls who were like my best friends when I was a kid, when I was like 16 years old. They knew a kid named JP. JP was in the mountain town Bailey, and in Bailey he connected with A and B, and then A and B came to our school in Denver, and because it was a better school, and then our Waldorf girls knew all of these crazy socialite drug dealer types in the fucking mountain towns. And so that's how I got to know JP and Cody and There was a bunch of them, JP and Cody, and there was another one who went to my school named, oh God, I could say his name, but it's doxing him. I want to say Daniel something or another. I think, I can't totally remember, but he was a really good friend of theirs too. And so through these loose drug connections, we eventually just sort of went up to the mountains one time and hung out with them, which was such a smart move. For like 5 years, we had complete access to any drug that we needed. We could go to any party anytime. The mountain parties were always going, and you could go to them at any day of the week. Like, yo, call up Daniel and ask him what his friends are doing. And they're like, yeah, hey, we got like 45 kids up here in the fucking mountains somewhere in someone's, mom's house or something. And we're all just up here drinking. And it's like, can we come up there? What's the address? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. Come chill. And suddenly it's like I bring like 5 or 10 people with me. And suddenly you got like 60 or 70 people. And that act of smoking the meth pipe or the pot pipe or the fucking whatever it was absolutely smoking the peace pipe and absolutely for promoting the only sociality that I think anybody in my city had. And I think drugs were a major, it was a contributing factor to like sociality in the Rocky Mountains. They call us the Mile High. And when we stopped doing it, when the weird Christians and their fucking shame, like for instance, all my life, I remember the darkness that was the Christian judgment of drinking alcohol, because you couldn't buy alcohol on Sunday until I was 27 years old. I mean, that wasn't even that long ago. That was like 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like up until about 15 years ago, until like 2008, somewhere around there, something like that. They completely allowed all of the liquor stores to sell liquor on a Sunday. But I mean, they didn't let us do that. They didn't let them do that for most of my life. So come Saturday night at like 2:30 in the morning, if you have liquor, you might be considered a god amongst men in that city or whatever, because you have what everybody wants. You have liquor at 2:45 in the morning when it's, nobody else can buy it. And on Sunday, they don't sell it all. And it was like that until I was like 27. So one of the ways you can mark a mile high, like a real mile high person, is they'll keep a couple of bottles of liquor in their trunk at all times. And it was like that for the first 25 years of my life or something like that. You would keep a liquor bottle. Past the age of 14, I would keep a liquor bottle in my trunk, because if you're the guy that has liquor on a Sunday after the Christians and the fucking judgmental pieces of shit got done with it, if you had a bottle of liquor on a Sunday, girls will sleep with you. People will let you stay at their house. They'll get you high. They'll buy you food. They'll declare you king, and they'll make you the kings of their circle and stuff like this. If you have liquor on a Sunday night in Colorado, up until I was like 24 years old or something like that, you were the king of the city. And I knew this, and I was one of the few people that didn't know it. So I kept like sometime whenever I bought a bottle of liquor, I'd be like, oh my God, this is like $27. So I have to come up with like $84. And where do we do that? And they're like, what do you mean you need $84? And I'm like, if I'm buying a bottle of liquor, I'm going to buy 3 of them. And they're like, why are you going to buy 3 bottles of liquor? Because that's how much we need. And they're like, what do you mean that's how much we need? Are you kidding me? Every single time that our friends get together, we slaughter 3 handles. I need 3 handles, And it was like that. It was like that for most of my life. So then when that camaraderie of getting high, getting drunk, just chasing it all the time, it like went away, and it started being shamed by people like my mother or whatever. It actually really harmed America's fabric of society, I think, unfortunately. I love you guys. It's 12:40 on a Monday now. I'm going to bed. Y'all have a good night. I love you guys. Thank you so much. You've been watching Skycatlive. I'm a full-time variety gamer all day, every day. Click on the cast space to donate. Come to the Twitch or the YouTube. Give me a like, sub, or a follow. I'm going to stop this recording here with a reminder that I have thousands of videos on my YouTube channel. Some of them are still being uploaded as we speak. No, they're done. They're done. They're like finishing as we speak. There is one here that is still going. No, they're all done. They're all done. So yesterday's is up on my channel as of now. Tomorrow I'll be on to play some Rust and some Eve and some FFXI. I love you guys. I'm going to bed. It's 12:40 on a Sunday. There's really no reason to stay up any later than this other than contributing to your guys' delinquency or whatever. So I'm just going to go to fucking bed. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your fucking time. I'll see you tomorrow. This is the last time I'm going to be drunk for a real long time. So enjoy it. Because, the dehydration is really bad. I'm just going to get away from drinking here for a while. So it was very fun to share that with you guys. Last time I drank for a while. It's pretty good. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you later.